Then I'll let him live for a while. The day I become crown prince is the day he dies. The 13th prince had cold eyes. When the battle for crown prince ended, Zhao Feng would no longer be a member of the imperial force, and since he wasn't an official, he wouldn't be able to stay in the imperial palace anymore. Killing him at that time would be as easy as flipping a palm. Hearing that, the powerful male shook his head and sat back down. Zhou Chen was too young and inexperienced. Since Zhao Feng hadn't died, the issue with Zhao Yufei would be a lot more difficult. If that had happened, news of the marriage would spread to the public, and the 13th prince's forces would expand. But unfortunately, it didn't happen. There was still a bit more than a year remaining till the fight for crown prince. They could only hope that the Duanmu family would be able to confine Zhao Yufei. They couldn't let Zhao Yufei see Zhao Feng, and it would be best for her to not hear any news about Zhao Feng at all. "Chenner, how's your recruitment going?" the powerful male asked. He was still slightly worried about Zhou Chen, so he asked about what kind of plans he had. "Right now it's full. If there are better candidates, we can replace someone." The 13th prince was extremely confident. Most of the issues regarding the battle for crown prince were decided by his mother and his uncle, but he had participated in recruiting many people and had some unexpected gains that made him smug. He would be able to surprise his mother and uncle at that time. Good. The powerful male became slightly more relaxed. Zhou Chen probably wouldn't make any mistakes about who was stronger or weaker. Besides, there would also be a fight for the spots before the battle for crown prince started. For example, many people that supported the 13th prince didn't believe in the beast tamer's strength and could challenge them. If they won, they would become the new beast tamer. This rule had only started a couple generations ago in order to allow the forces that supported the prince to all have a chance to enter the imperial tombs and have stronger experts on their side. Within the misty spatial world, Zhao Feng split another consciousness from his mind and formed the domain of wind lightning. He hadn't had much time after his recultivation, so Zhao Feng had only formed his illusion maze domain so far. "It's about time to form a little world," Zhao Feng murmured. His cultivation had reached the late stages of the king level and was just one step away from the emperor level, but that didn't mean he couldn't form his little world right now. Zhao Feng's learning and comprehension abilities surpassed others, so he could go one step further when creating his domain, and there was nothing wrong with that. Furthermore, Zhao Feng had cultivated twice now, and his understanding of the laws of heaven and earth surpassed other peak-tier kings. On top of that, Zhao Feng felt that the evolution of his left eye would be of great assistance in creating his little world. Therefore, he had to create his domain of wind lightning before he could confirm what element his little world should be. Zhao Feng exited seclusion 3 months later and came to the 9th prince's palace. "Butler Qi, can you send someone to the St. Herb Pavilion in Long Rainbow City and get some resources for me?" Zhao Feng went to find Butler Qi. "No problem." Butler Qi paused for a moment. It had been 3 months, so he almost forgot about the golden-haired youth that lived here. "Go directly to the pavilion owner and tell her that Zhao Feng needs the most precious and rare fire elemental resources." Zhao Feng had used up all his fire elemental resources other than the Sky Rainbow Fire Beehive since he hadn't finished completely removing all the poison. However, going to the St. Herb Pavilion required 2 months. Butler Qi's expression changed, and he laughed. "I didn't think that young Master Zhao was on such familiar terms with the owner of the St. Herb Pavilion." The pavilion owner was Zhou Suer, a princess of the Great Gone Lord dynasty. Everyone knew this. Zhou Suer was extremely talented, and her healing skills made even the various imperial doctors praise her. However, what stunned Butler Qi was the identity of this youth. It was actually Zhao Feng, one of the purple-haired demonic duo that had created chaos in the divine illusion dimension. At this moment, the sound of a male sounded. "This one is Grandmaster Beast Tamer Liang Sang from Sky Pond City, and is here to visit the 9th prince." Butler Qi immediately went out and spoke. "Grandmaster Liang, His Highness isn't here. Then tell the 9th prince that, after some consideration, I'm willing to help him if he gives me 3 rare peak-tier king beasts." Liang Sang had a proud expression and acted like was taking a step back. Rare beasts were different from normal beasts. Rare beasts were harder to tame and had more potential. They weren't something that normal beasts could be compared to. I'm sorry, Grandmaster Liang, but His Highness said that he doesn't need a beast tamer anymore. Butler Qi gave a glance toward the side hall and said with a faint smile, "What?" Liang Sang was extremely surprised. At this point in time, most forces had picked their sides already. Grandmaster beast tamers were already rare, and the reason he initially turned down the 9th prince was because he wanted to reap a big profit from the Imperials. However, several months had gone by, and there were no messages from the 9th prince, so Liang Sang personally came and even lowered his requirements, but the 9th prince had already found a beast tamer? At this moment, Liang Sang wasn't able to accept it. If he had known it was going to turn out like this, he would have just agreed back then. An elder next to Liang Sang spoke, "May I ask, who is the 9th prince's beast tamer?" Liang Sang came from Sky Pond City, and this elder was the city lord of Sky Pond City. He had the title of Marquis, and Sky Pond City hadn't chosen which prince they wanted to support yet because of Liang Sang. Once Liang Sang supported a prince, Sky Pond City would follow them and reap more rewards. Liang Sang's eyes lit up. If he knew the name of the beast tamer, he could challenge him in the fight for spots later. Coincidentally, Zhao Feng walked out at this instant. The old butler didn't say anything but glanced toward Zhao Feng. "I am that beast tamer," Zhao Feng said. He had heard some things about the battle for spots. At the moment, the 9th prince hadn't given Zhao Feng a specific position yet, but he felt that being the beast tamer wasn't bad. This could prevent him from having to reveal his strength and allow him to inspect everyone else from the sidelines first. "May I ask what your title is?" Liang Sang was surprised but didn't show it on his face. He had never heard of such a young Grandmaster beast tamer with golden hair and a golden eye. "Zhao Feng." Liang Sang paused for a moment before laughing coldly. "Zhao Feng?" The elder from Sky Pond City also furrowed his eyebrows. "Junior, you can't just claim to be a Grandmaster beast tamer without any foundation." Liang Sang puffed out his chest, as if teaching his junior. No one didn't know the rumors about Zhao Feng. Apparently, his eye bloodline was the strongest, but even if it was biased toward the soul and could affect beasts, affecting and taming were two different matters. Furthermore, Zhao Feng was extremely young. How much beast taming experience did he have? These juniors thought too highly of themselves. "Why don't we let our spiritual pets spar with one another? You can't call yourself a Grandmaster Beast Tamer if you haven't defeated a Grandmaster Beast Tamer before." Liang Sang was excited and used the title of Grandmaster Beast Tamer to pressure Zhao Feng. Although Liang Sang was a beast tamer, his fame was nowhere near Zhao Feng's. Now was a great chance to use his forte and defeat the opponent. He could win the spot and some fame at the same time. "Sure. Then you can give your title of Grandmaster Beast Tamer to me." A smile formed on Zhao Feng's face. Now was the time to use this Grandmaster Beast Tamer from Sky Pond City to make himself known. Then it would be quiet when the fight for spots started. "Fine. If I win, then you give me your spot." Liang Sang was laughing in his heart. Young people were indeed rash. The two came to an agreement and started to walk toward the martial arts field of the Imperial Palace. The Sky Pond City Lord and Butler Qi immediately followed behind. The Imperial Palace restricted flying everywhere apart from the martial arts field. Many members and disciples of the Imperial force would spar here, and some guards and servants that had enmity with one another would settle it out here. After a long time, there were always some bored Imperials, guards, or servants here watching the fights for entertainment. There were two guards in the martial arts field right now fighting. They were both peak sovereign lords. One wore silver armor and held a long sword. The sword was surrounded by fire and summoned waves of hot air that increased the temperature of the entire martial arts field. The other guard wore golden armor and was covered in a layer of protection as he used his two fists and attacked steadily. "Zhao Feng, wait for a moment. That golden-armored guard will soon win." Liang Sang smiled and said. "He's about to lose." Zhao Feng faintly shook his head. While it seemed as if the silver-armored male was at a disadvantage, his every attack used up a lot of true yuan and radiated a lot of heat. He definitely had some sort of hidden card. Zhao Feng also sensed that there was a weird disturbance of true yuan within the silver-armored male's body, but the golden-armored male still hadn't detected it. Therefore, he would definitely lose. In the next instant, the silver-armored male released a surge of red flames and raised the long sword in his hand. A suction force suddenly appeared, and all the heat in the air started to condense together. The long sword instantly released a wave of scarlet red that shot into the sky. Bam! The barrier around the golden-armored male was instantly broken, and he was sent flying as his chest turned black. Exciting! Chang Chuan wins and becomes the captain of the third guard team. Ha 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 ha! He's fine! The silver-armored Chang Chuan laughed. Liang Sang's face was slightly red. He felt awkward, but he stepped into the martial arts field, and Zhao Feng followed behind him. This one is Grandmaster Beast Tamer Liang Sang from Sky Pond City. Liang Sang introduced himself to the spectators. Beast Tamer. This will be exciting. No beast tamer has fought here before. Everyone was interested in a fight between beast tamers. My opponent is Zhao Feng of the Imperial Genius Rankings, who currently holds the beast tamer position for the 9th prince in the battle to become crown prince. Liang Sang gave a faint smile and introduced Zhao Feng as well. Zhao Feng? Could it be the Zhao Feng from the Divine Illusion Dimension? Zhao Feng of the purple-haired demonic duo? Zhao Feng was recruited by the 9th prince? Oh God! I didn't think that Zhao Feng was also a beast tamer. The spectators started to discuss, while Liang Sang snickered in his heart. All this fame will be mine when I defeat you. Everyone had big reactions to the rumored purple-haired demonic duo. Furthermore, this was a battle between beast tamers, so there were more and more people being attracted. The bet between Zhao Feng and I is for the title of Grandmaster Beast Tamer and the position of the 9th Prince's Beast Tamer in the battle to become Crown Prince. Liang Sang smiled and looked toward Zhao Feng. While his words seemed like he was scared of Zhao Feng reneging on his bet, it was actually to attract even more attention. The words Grandmaster Beastmaster and Battle for Crown Prince would create a lot of discussion. Good. This match will be interesting. Both sides will give it their full strength for such a bet. Quick! Call everyone else over. Grandmaster Beast Tamer Liang Sang, can we start? Zhao Feng asked somewhat impatiently. This guy was acting as if he was in a show. Sure. Liang Sang's expression suddenly changed, and he opened a spiritual pet bag. A green armored lizard that was a couple dozen meters long landed on the ground. It had one green crystal-like glittering horn. Roar. The green lizard roared and unleashed the aura of a peak-tier king. Some of the spectators who had low cultivation felt their hearts shake, and they almost fell on the ground. Everyone that was watching took a step back. Even though there was the protection of Providence, no one dared to go too close to a battle between peak-tier kings. The green lizard was like a small mountain as it glared cruelly down at Zhao Feng. This is a rare beast that I tamed in a swamp in the face of danger. It's called a crystal horn lizard, and it has reached the level of a peak-tier king, but its battle power has reached the level of an emperor. Liang Sang smugly introduced the crystal horn lizard. Its defense and offense were both top-tier. The only weakness was that it wasn't agile enough. Beast tamers didn't just need to subdue beasts, they also needed to make them listen to their commands and fight for them. Utilizing the intelligence of humans would fully unleash the potential of a beast's battle power. What a unique lizard, as expected of a rare beast. Just its looks tell us that it's not simple. I heard that lizards are considered descendants of dragons, so they're definitely one of the top species. Zhao Feng glanced at it. There were many rare beasts in the Divine Illusion Dimension. Zhao Feng waved his left hand. Wang. A flashing 5-colored bee the size of a fist flew out. The difference in size between it and the crystal horn lizard was like heaven and earth. So pretty. What kind of beast is it? Its aura is so weak. It's just a normal king. The difference between this and Grandmaster Liang Sang's crystal horn lizard is way too big. Those present weren't able to recognize this small and colorful beast. But as a fellow beast, the crystal horn lizard's eyes bulged, and it started to tremble. It instinctively felt wary of the 5-poisoned distinct bee. This is? Liang Sang's eyes also looked at the small bee, and his expression changed dramatically, but it was too late. Wang, the large body of the crystal horn lizard suddenly became its weakness. It moved slowly and was caught by the 5-poison distinct bee, which stabbed its tail into the lizard and self-destructed. Boom! After the smoke faded, a large black hole was revealed in the crystal horn lizard's stomach, and black blood kept flowing out. Liang Sang's face was filled with anger and shock. He immediately called back the crystal horn lizard and started to put some medicine on it. Luckily, the crystal horn lizard was very big, so the injury didn't take up a large portion. Otherwise, he would have lost a rare beast already. Liang Sang didn't expect Zhao Feng to have a 5-poison distinct bee. The bloodline of this ancient rare insect was close to the 10,000 ancient races. No wonder Zhao Feng wasn't scared. These ancient rare insects didn't even need to a beast tamer to control them. The 5-poison distinct bees could just bum rush the enemy and self-destruct. This brat definitely has more 5 distinct poison bees. Liang Sang gritted his teeth as he revealed a jealous expression, and discussion broke out. That weak little bee was incredibly strong and made the fierce crystal horn lizard instantly lose its battle power. Zhao Feng, let's see how many more 5-poison distinct bees you have. Liang Sang revealed a pained expression as he opened another spiritual pet bag, and a dark green giant turtle landed onto the martial arts field. The giant turtle had thick armor and skin. It was extremely large, and the instant it appeared, a barrier of water surrounded it. Zhao Feng's expression changed slightly. This beast perfectly countered the 5-poison distinct bees. Little thieving cat. Meow! The little thieving cat jumped out of the misty spatial world and shook his head, saying that it was a hidden card and couldn't reveal itself, so it heavily recommended its little friend, the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly. Zhao Feng was speechless. The little thieving cat's display was proof that he wasn't a good beast tamer. If that's the case, then let's just decide the victor straight away. Zhao Feng's expression became grim. Even if the little thieving cat won against the turtle, Liang Sang would probably just take out even more spiritual pets and prolong the fight with Zhao Feng, and since Zhao Feng wasn't actually a professional beast tamer, he didn't carry many spiritual pets around with him. Liang Sang was surprised and felt that something was amiss. What did Zhao Feng mean by that? Zhao Feng waved his left hand, and a chubby, jade-like silkworm appeared in the air. Boom! The entire martial arts field fell silent as a terrifying aura of the 10,000 ancient races shook the spectators' hearts, and everyone immediately retreated dozens of yards. Their faces went white, and their breathing stopped. The dark green giant turtle shook, and the bloodline within its body trembled in fear as it looked at the little silkworm in disbelief. The cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly opened its jade-like eyes and looked at the dark green giant turtle. The giant turtle yelled in fear and immediately stuck its head into its shell. Its shell kept on shaking on the ground and created an earthquake. Liang Sang's mouth fell wide open. Cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly of the 10,000 ancient races. Even though he was far away, he could feel the aura of the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly. It had reached the level of an emperor, but since it was an original species of the 10,000 ancient races, its true strength could even affect sacred lords. All beasts that weren't from the ancient era would be suppressed by an entire cultivation level by it. This meant that his rare peak-tier king beast was only an early-stage king against it. Liang Sang would only be able to fight back against the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly if he took out a rare sacred lord rank beast. Liang Sang took back the giant turtle and looked at Zhao Feng with envy and jealousy, but he could do nothing. No matter what he took out, he wouldn't be able to win. His spiritual pets didn't even dare to look at the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly directly. Why did Zhao Feng have rare 5-poison distinct bees? Why did he even have something from the 10,000 ancient races? All of this was unfair in his mind, but Liang Sang didn't consider the fact that, even if he was able to meet a species from the 10,000 ancient races, he wouldn't be able to tame it. This one admits defeat. Whoosh! Seeing Liang Sang admit defeat, Zhao Feng took back the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly. Some of the spectators were still in shock from the pressure of that ancient aura. They hadn't even seen what kind of spiritual pet Zhao Feng took out, and the fierce battle they were looking forward to didn't happen. Grandmaster Liang Sang admitted defeat in this fight. Liang Sang quickly left the field and had no face, so he left with the Sky Pond City Lord. Butler Qi arrived at this moment with a smile, as expected of young Master Zhao. Your beast-taming skills far exceed the level of a grandmaster. Butler Qi felt a bit diffident because he didn't really want them to fight, but since he wanted to see Zhao Feng's beast-taming skills, he didn't stop them. Now that he saw it, how could Zhao Feng's beast-taming abilities be bad if he could even control a species from the 10,000 ancient races? Good, very exciting. A laugh suddenly sounded across the entire martial arts field, and a bulky male in golden dragon robes walked out. He had a strong air of providence around him. Next to him was a youth in white. His Highness the Fourth Prince. Fourth Prince. Some of the spectating imperial members bowed, while the servants and guards went down on one knee. The entire field went quiet, and Zhao Feng's heart jumped. In the reports, the Fourth Prince was ranked the strongest in forces supporting him and in terms of individual strength as well. Zhao Feng, long time no see. Next to the Fourth Prince, Zhuge Yun gave a faint smile as spoke. Zhuge Yun. From the looks of it, Sky Suspension Palace was standing behind the Fourth Prince's back. Zhuge Yun was a strategist who directed the group from Sky Suspension Palace in the Divine Illusion dimension. He was only below that of Shenyuan 1. The Great Gone Lord dynasty only had 2 4-star powers: Sky Suspension Palace and the Grand Imperial Hall. Since the Grand Imperial Hall was the host of the battle for Crown Prince, they didn't participate. I heard Brother Zhuge and Xian Wuheng talk about you. Seeing you has indeed opened my eyes. The Fourth Prince looked at Zhao Feng with twinkling eyes and said, You're overestimating me. Fourth Prince is also powerful and unique. Zhao Feng's left eye flashed. The Fourth Prince had reached the level of a quasi-sacred lord and could break through at any moment. His true battle power was probably comparable to sacred lords, and he was indeed several times stronger than the other princes. I have one spot left for a beast tamer in my group. Is Brother Zhao Feng willing to help me? The Fourth Prince looked at Zhao Feng with honest eyes. Everyone was dead silent. Being the strongest prince actually going for the position of Crown Prince, his group was filled with countless experts. How could he possibly have an empty space? How glorious would it be to be recruited by the Fourth Prince himself? Everyone was instantly envious of Zhao Feng, and Liang Sang, who was not far away, had the urge to hit his head against a wall and kill himself. He never expected that the Fourth Prince would have seen his fight with Zhao Feng. He felt like he had just performed a show with Zhao Feng specifically to let the Fourth Prince pick Zhao Feng and give him his invitation. This was something that he didn't even dare dream of. Next to Zhao Feng, Butler Qi's breathing rate increased. He felt regretful, but he didn't dare speak. Most people wouldn't be able to reject this temptation. The Fourth Prince's overall strength was ranked first, and he was the most likely to become the Crown Prince. Once a prince became the Crown Prince, then all the members that supported him would be rewarded and given territories. They would receive a large amount of Lord Dynasty Providence, and they could even join the Grand Imperial Hall in the future. I'm sorry, but I'm already a member of the Ninth Prince's group. Zhao Feng smiled and declined the offer. He didn't really care about receiving a title or providence. Everything was unrelated to him as long as the 13th Prince didn't become the Crown Prince. Besides, Zhao Feng wouldn't betray his friends, who, everyone's breathing rate quickened. Zhao Feng actually declined the offer. Those present couldn't believe their ears. Zhao Feng declined so decisively. The Fourth Prince was the most likely to become Crown Prince, but Zhao Feng declined him and was instead going to help the Ninth Prince, who was only ranked 6th. What was he thinking? Even the Fourth Prince was surprised. He thought that Zhao Feng would at least hesitate. Furthermore, the reason Zhao Feng declined him was simple, and it was something that made others admire him. Betrayal was something that everyone hated. Were they going to make Zhao Feng a traitor? Zhuge Yun felt slightly regretful. He was looking forward to working with Zhao Feng. If Zhao Feng was willing to join the Fourth Prince's side, then the Fourth Prince's group would become even stronger than it already was. Furthermore, the current golden-haired Zhao Feng gave him an unfathomable feeling. He couldn't help but remember the power of the purple-haired demonic duo in the Divine Illusion dimension. Cold sweat dripped from Butler Qi's forehead, and he felt lucky that Zhao Feng declined. Otherwise, he would have caused a disaster. Butler Qi looked at Zhao Feng's calm expression, and his perspective of Zhao Feng changed for the first time. Liang Sang almost fell over. That brat actually declined? Liang Sang almost went crazy. The heavens had given him such a chance. But he actually declined. Liang Sang, let's go and make some preparations. Let's see if we can get a spot from any of the other princes. The Sky Pond City Lord sighed. They had missed their chance and could only depend on luck now. Zhao Feng, I await seeing you in the imperial tombs. The fourth prince radiated a force as if he was challenging someone. Zhao Feng gave a faint smile and put his hands together, but he didn't speak. The fourth prince then led Zhuge Yun and left the martial arts field. Your Highness, Zhao Feng is extremely talented, Zhuge Yun said in a low tone. I know. The fourth prince had a grim expression. How many Grandmaster Beast Tamers could control a species from the 10,000 ancient races? If his guesses were correct, that cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly should be his 13th uncle's. Apparently, his 13th uncle treasured this cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly, but it had fallen into a deep sleep and was about to die, and yet it was extremely alive and right in front of him. From this, one could see how capable Zhao Feng was. Furthermore, the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly's supportive abilities were extremely shocking. There were many rare beasts of different eras in the imperial tombs, and a talented beast tamer would be extremely useful since they could control a group of super strong beasts. Zhao Feng won't help me unless younger brother ninth prince gives up on the battle for crown prince. The fourth prince had clear eyes. If Zhao Feng helped him, then his chances of winning would increase a bit more, but if Zhao Feng helped the ninth prince, the latter still wouldn't pose much of a threat. 13th uncle? The fourth prince saw Duke Nanfeng quickly arriving. Your Highness fourth prince? Was that Zhao Feng at the front? The fourth prince faintly nodded his head. He originally wanted to talk with his 13th uncle, but seeing that the latter was in a hurry, he didn't say anything and just watched as Duke Nanfeng left. After Duke Nanfeng became a sacred lord 2 years ago, his territory expanded, and it wasn't impossible for him to join the Grand Imperial Hall in the future. Looks like Duke Nanfeng will very likely stand behind the ninth prince. The seventh prince will be extremely angry. Zhuge Yun gave a faint smile. After Duke Nanfeng returned to the imperial palace, he and the seventh prince had talked many times, but to no avail. From the looks of it, Duke Nanfeng was waiting for Zhao Feng. Duke Nanfeng. Zhao Feng had a joyful expression. Ever since coming here, Duke Nanfeng could be said to be the only person he was familiar with. My Duke, please come have a seat in the ninth prince's palace. Discuss anything you want there. Butler Qi immediately followed behind and said in a respectful tone. Under Butler Qi's guidance, Zhao Feng and Duke Nanfeng arrived at the ninth prince's palace. Duke Nanfeng looked warmly at the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly. If it wasn't for Zhao Feng, the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly would still be in deep sleep right now, and perhaps it never would have woken up. He also wouldn't have been able to become a sacred lord. Congratulations on becoming a sacred lord. Zhao Feng smiled and put his hands together. It's all thanks to your 100 origin sacred honey. Oh yeah, Zhao Feng, what's with your eye? Duke Nanfeng gave a faint smile as he asked. He had a deep impression of Zhao Feng's eye bloodline. It evolved. Evolved? Duke Nanfeng was extremely surprised. Zhao Feng's eye bloodline was extremely strong, so an evolution would only make it even more unfathomable. No wonder he wasn't able to see through Zhao Feng even after becoming a sacred lord. He didn't even dare to look at the golden eye. While Duke Nanfeng was interested in Zhao Feng's left eye, he didn't ask too much about it. Why are you helping the ninth prince? Duke Nanfeng was slightly puzzled. This was the main reason he was here. He didn't think well of the ninth prince's chances, but since they were in his palace right now, he didn't want to say that the ninth prince was at a very big disadvantage. Duke Nanfeng even mentioned that if Zhao Feng was willing, he could help him gain a spot in the groups of the 13th prince, the 7th prince, or some other princes. He didn't know that Zhao Feng just declined the 4th prince a moment ago. It was a coincidence. I wanted to participate in the battle for crown prince, and the 9th prince wasn't very far away from me. Zhao Feng thought about it and didn't know how to reply. He couldn't exactly say that he only joined because he wanted to kill the 13th prince, not to mention that they were right in the imperial palace right now. Hearing that, Duke Nanfeng almost spat out the tea that he just drank. If he didn't know Zhao Feng well, he would think that Zhao Feng was toying with him. Zhao Feng, you look at everything with such a casual perspective. This was the only thing that Duke Nanfeng could say. If it was someone else, they would be trying to obtain as many benefits as possible. Their conversation became much smoother after that. Most of it was Duke Nanfeng introducing the situation of the imperial palace and the situations of the other princes to Zhao Feng. The little thieving cat and the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly were talking about something on the side. Duke, I'll be entering seclusion in a while. If there's news from the Ocean Smoke Pavilion or the 10,000 Sacred Clan during that time, tell them to join the 9th prince's side. There was 1 year left, and Zhao Feng needed to enter seclusion to become stronger. Even if the Ocean Smoke Pavilion made some progress, it used to be just a subordinate force for 9 Darkness Palace, so it would be crushed by a peak 3-star power. Therefore, it was more likely for Bai Qingyue to go under the banner of the 10,000 Sacred Clan. But that still couldn't guarantee their safety. Duke Nanfeng thought for a moment before patting his chest. Don't worry, I'll be going now. Zhao Feng entered seclusion after Duke Nanfeng left. After hearing about the situation from Duke Nanfeng, Zhao Feng felt that it wasn't impossible for the 9th prince to win. Within the misty spatial world, I can finally use the 100 Origin Sacred Honey now. Zhao Feng was slightly impatient. This was the first time he was going to use the 100 Origin Sacred Honey. At the same time, he split his mind into several thoughts and started to multitask. The first focused on comprehending the domain of wind lightning. If it was possible, Zhao Feng was planning to form his little world before entering the battle for Crown Prince. Most people that were entering the imperial tombs had the battle power of an emperor at the least, and forming a little world would be the fast way to increase Zhao Feng's battle power. The second thought focused on comprehending the fire of wind lightning and merging the god tribulation lightning from his soul body into the fire of wind lightning. Zhao Feng focused on the quality of his true yuan, not quantity. According to Duke Nanfeng, increasing cultivation in a hurry was bad. The other parts of his divine sense directed the power of God Tribulation Lightning to refine his soul and analyze the structure of atoms. Zhao Feng cautiously used one portion of the 100 Origins Sacred Honey and felt a sacred and holy aura seep into his body, moving throughout his organs and limbs until it reached the depths of his soul. Zhao Feng felt as if his entire body had been blessed by the 100 Origin Sacred Honey, and that he had ascended for a short amount of time. Maybe because of the sacred lightning body, the 100 Origin Sacred Honey spread throughout his entire body and was slowly absorbed. Zhao Feng immediately circulated his sacred lightning body and instantly became taller. Blue and golden light surrounded him, and arcs of lightning occasionally flashed around him. After using the sacred lightning body, his rate of absorbing the 100 Origin Sacred Honey doubled, and most of it was used on refining his body. Boom! Boom! At the same time, Zhao Feng formed another thought that circulated the fire of wind lightning to refine the sacred lightning body and absorb the energy to the maximum degree. 3 days later, Zhao Feng's body shook as it released a glow of lightning, and his aura increased. Looks like I still underestimated the 100 Origin Sacred Honey. A light flashed through Zhao Feng's eyes. He had only absorbed 60% of the 100 Origin Sacred Honey, and his sacred lightning body successfully broke through to the peak 5th level. He immediately tried to stop his body from absorbing the energy. Faint purple bolts of lightning appeared around Zhao Feng's entire body as he released his soul intent. Since there's still energy remaining, I can use it to refine my soul body. Zhao Feng had always ignored the God Tribulation Lightning soul body mainly because he didn't understand it enough, but when he knew more about the use of the God Tribulation Lightning soul body, he would be able to dig out its potential. Another couple days later, Zhao Feng's soul had completely absorbed the leftover 100 Origin Sacred Honey. His soul was even more condensed than before, and it wasn't transparent anymore. Faint arcs of God Tribulation Lightning blinked across the surface, and after being cleansed by the 100 Origin Sacred Honey, Zhao Feng felt that his God Tribulation Lightning soul body had a different feeling from before, but he couldn't quite describe what it was. My sacred lightning body has reached the limit of the 5th level. Let's go test it out in the ancient dream realm. Zhao Feng's heart moved. He hadn't entered the ancient dream realm in a long time. The mysterious golden ball had replaced the blue lake, and there was also a golden whirlpool when Zhao Feng put his consciousness into it. Wang. Zhao Feng appeared in the forest where the Yao bird and giant snake guarded the tree. However, Zhao Feng felt that something was amiss the instant he appeared here. A terrifying pressure and ancient aura made his bloodline and true yuan tremble. And this was still under the basis that Zhao Feng's sacred lightning body had greatly improved. What was going on? Is this a storm? Zhao Feng looked around and saw that the sky was dark. Arcs of lightning flashed everywhere as a storm ravaged the area. The pressure was extremely strong, and the rain created loud crackles when it landed on Zhao Feng. Boom! A bolt of lightning shot down. It was like a god descending to earth. Zhao Feng's soul was extremely pressured as he stood there. This bolt of lightning made Zhao Feng's body shake, and he became dazed as a boom of thunder resounded throughout his mind. Even a sacred lord would turn into ashes if they were hit by that bolt of lightning. Is this a storm of the ancient era? Zhao Feng exclaimed after a long time. Is this a storm of the ancient era? Zhao Feng exclaimed after a long time. The clouds in the sky were like dark dragons, and the lightning was like scales. There were countless bolts and arcs, and each bolt of lightning that descended was like a giant fang that suppressed all living beings. Zhao Feng never expected that nature could be so powerful, and he felt respectful toward its power. He could clearly feel how weak and small he was in comparison. Zhao Feng used lightning to refine his golden Kuan sacred lightning body, but he didn't dare to absorb the ancient lightning from the ancient dream realm. From what he saw just now, even sacred lords would be instantly killed by that bolt of lightning. Zhao Feng didn't even dare to absorb the remnant aura of the ancient lightning. To a certain degree, his sacred lightning body was a conductor. So if Zhao Feng stood here and tried to absorb the remnant aura of the ancient lightning, the next bolt might go right for him. Such powerful lightning! What a shame! Zhao Feng sighed in his heart. He cultivated a supreme technique that allowed one to refine their body using lightning, but he didn't dare to absorb any of this lightning. However, staying here and comprehending the aura of wind lightning from the ancient era was beneficial for Zhao Feng. The wind lightning here allowed Zhao Feng to touch the power of laws, and Zhao Feng could store some of the stray lightning aura that happened to pass over him. At a certain moment, Zhao Feng's left eye managed to disintegrate a wisp of ancient lightning. It had a complicated structure, but it was similar to the lightning from Zhao Feng's sacred lightning body. Zhao Feng even felt like the lightning that he cultivated was a simplified version of this ancient lightning. Boom! Another bolt of lightning fell down not far away from Zhao Feng. The earth shook, countless trees were destroyed, and many powerful Yao beasts roared. The aura of ancient lightning swept over and even numbed Zhao Feng's sacred lightning body. I can't circulate my sacred lightning body to absorb the lightning, but I can store it and take it back. A light flashed in Zhao Feng's eyes as he looked toward the area where the lightning fell, and he was stunned. The God Tribulation head inside the dimension of his left eye was something that could store God Tribulation lightning, but there was only about 20% of it remaining. It would soon be completely used up. Zhao Feng had never found anything else that could store powerful lightning. While the strength of the ancient lightning wasn't quite as strong as the God Tribulation lightning, it was purer, so it was a great source of lightning to refine the sacred lightning body and his soul body. Zhao Feng thought about what level his 5-elemental wind lightning technique and golden Kuan sacred lightning body would reach if he transformed the lightning within his body into ancient lightning. Zhao Feng's heart moved, and he walked toward where the bolt of lightning just hit. He met some normal wild beasts on the way and easily finished them. Zhao Feng soon arrived where the bolt of lightning had struck. The place was scorched black, and there was a deep hole in the ground. Many trees nearby were still burning, and the aura of lightning spread onto him when he got close. Zhao Feng approached a black piece of wood and found that the aura of lightning within it was extremely weak and fading away. I've calculated wrongly. The trees here aren't qualified to store the power of ancient lightning. Zhao Feng sighed, but he didn't give up and continued his search. The material of this tree is slightly different and contains more power of ancient lightning than the others. Zhao Feng revealed a surprised expression as he looked at the tree in front of him. Although it was also black, the inner portion of it was relatively complete, and small wisps of lightning appeared on its surface. Without saying anything else, Zhao Feng immediately put this black tree into the misty spatial world. He then found a similar tree, as well as some other pieces of wood that also contained the power of lightning. Zhao Feng went over the place several times to make sure he didn't overlook anything. He waited for a long time but no more lightning fell. After all, the range of the storm was just too big, and he couldn't even see the end. If the lightning fell too far away from Zhao Feng, he wouldn't dare to go there because the ancient dream realm was several dozen times more dangerous than the divine illusion dimension. Zhao Feng had used a long time just to get those few pieces of wood alone. The next instant, Zhao Feng returned to the imperial palace and entered the misty spatial world. Let's try the power of ancient lightning. Zhao Feng impatiently circulated his sacred lightning body and moved a piece of black wood into the air with a thought. He then created a tentacle with his fire of wind lightning and made it touch the piece of black wood. Crackle! The two types of lightning instantly attracted one another. A wisp of pure white lightning was directed from the black wood and wrapped itself around the fire of wind lightning. Wisps of ancient lightning then slowly moved to Zhao Feng's body as the fire of wind lightning faded away. Wang, Zhao Feng's sacred lightning body released a glow of bright lightning. He then circulated the technique in an attempt to slowly merge this ancient lightning into his sacred lightning body. The ancient lightning didn't conflict with the lightning in his body. Zhao Feng even found that the lightning within his body seemed to follow the ancient lightning around. By increasing the power of lightning in his body, Zhao Feng's sacred lightning body would be able to withstand even stronger lightning in the future. At the same time, it would increase the sacred lightning body's rate of progress. The defense and strength of reflection of his sacred lightning protection would also get stronger as the power of lightning increased. Zhao Feng spent half a day to merge the ancient lightning within the black wood into his sacred lightning body. Let's try merging the power of ancient lightning into my true yuan. Zhao Feng had a thought. The 5-elemental wind lightning technique was also based on wind lightning, and the true yuan dimension, which contained his fire of wind lightning, also had the power of God Tribulation lightning. However, the God Tribulation lightning didn't merge with the normal lightning and instead existed as a separate identity. Like before, Zhao Feng first directed the ancient lightning into his fire of wind lightning to increase the strength of his offense. Zhao Feng slowly directed the fire of wind lightning, which now contained the ancient lightning, into his true yuan dimension. The power of ancient lightning didn't act the way it did with the sacred lightning body. It merged into his true yuan dimension when he circulated the fire of wind lightning until it completely disappeared. Zhao Feng could feel the element of lightning within the fire of wind lightning become a tiny bit stronger. Through the analysis of his left eye, Zhao Feng found that the structure of the atoms within the fire of wind lightning had become a little bit different. The number of atoms within each structure had increased. Looks like my theory can be realized. I can indeed turn the power of lightning within my true yuan into ancient lightning. Zhao Feng's heart moved. If he was able to harness the ancient lightning, then he might be able to fight back against the little world of sacred lords with his peak 5th level sacred lightning body. However, in order to do this, Zhao Feng would need to find more items that could store the ancient lightning since he hardly had any of the stuff. Therefore, Zhao Feng could only convert his fire of wind lightning for now. The trees weren't exactly good storage items, and the power of ancient lightning were fading away. I need to manage my time well. The longer I take, the faster the ancient lightning fades away. Zhao Feng had an urgent expression. He couldn't guarantee that he would find more items in the ancient dream realm that could store the ancient lightning. Several days later, Zhao Feng had merged most of the ancient lightning into the true yuan dimension where his fire of wind lightning was stored. At this moment in time, his fire of wind lightning contained an original and ancient aura that made his power of lightning purer. At the same time, the power of ancient lightning had purified Zhao Feng's fire of wind lightning and completely consolidated it at the early stages. The surging fire of wind lightning made the surrounding area of the misty spatial world become chaotic and slightly unstable. Zhao Feng could also merge the fire of wind lightning with the blood devil sun bloodline and create scarlet lightning blood flames, which contained extreme explosiveness and power. If he added the god tribulation lightning into it as well, then it would be enough to threaten sacred lords. Zhao Feng had a joyful expression and couldn't contain his anticipation to test it. He remembered how his scarlet lightning blood flames were pushed aside by the 9 darkness demonic lords' mystic light sacred power before they even got close. But now it would be different. I've succeeded in forming my domain of wind lightning. Zhao Feng sensed something and had a thought. While he had been cultivating the power of ancient lightning in the past couple days, he had split his divine sense and was focused on forming his domain of wind lightning as well. Can I merge the power of ancient lightning with the domain of wind lightning in order to make it stronger? Zhao Feng suddenly had this thought. He didn't have much ancient lightning storage items, so he had to make a decision quickly. The idea was quickly rejected by him. He originally wanted to create a little world from either the illusion maze domain or the domain of wind lightning. If he wanted to implement this idea, then it would be better to just create the wind lightning little world and merge the ancient lightning into that. I'll put it aside for now and think about which domain to choose first. Zhao Feng had a lot of information regarding little worlds. Little worlds were formed from a source of power and could materialize mental energy. He had fought with countless emperors and was familiar with the power of little worlds as well. Nan Gongxing's evil little world and the 9 darkness demonic lords' sacred lord level little world gave him the deepest impression and made him desire the power of a little world. But he had to think it through properly and choose the most suitable source. The evolution and new ability of the left eye doesn't belong to the mental energy side of things, and I've been comprehending a lot about wind lightning recently. I even have items that store ancient lightning, and Zhao Feng revealed a stunned expression while he was thinking. He suddenly realized that this was a perfect chance to form his little world of wind lightning right now. The storm within the ancient dream realm. While he didn't dare to circulate his sacred lightning body and absorb the power of ancient lightning into his body, what if he replicated the storm within the ancient dream realm to form his little world of wind lightning? A storm-like little world. There's some danger involved. Zhao Feng had a calm gaze. The ancient lightning wasn't a joke, but the actual danger involved was quite low. Zhao Feng could copy the images of the ancient dream realm into the dimension of his left eye and use them in the future. Let's go give it a try. Zhao Feng's consciousness entered the dimension of his left eye with a solemn expression. The next instant, Zhao Feng appeared in a replay of the scenery in the ancient dream realm where the sky was dark and a storm ravaged across heaven and earth. The left eye allowed Zhao Feng to replay scenes. It was similar to an illusion, but it gave Zhao Feng the feeling that it was real. Furthermore, this ability had improved after the left eye evolved. The feeling of the scenery in the ancient dream realm was the same as when he entered the ancient dream realm itself. A storm still covered the sky. Zhao Feng sat down and released his domain of wind lightning so that it covered the entire scene. As time passed, Zhao Feng used the ability of his left eye to try to sync the domain of wind lightning with the storm. Whatever happened in the ancient dream realm, he would replicate it here. This is doable. Zhao Feng started to analyze what would happen while replicating it at the same time. This was a little world of wind lightning based off his crystal core. If it was doable here, then he could try test it out in the actual ancient dream realm, and if there was any danger at all, he could come directly back. Zhao Feng called back his domain of wind lightning and merged his consciousness into the golden ball. The next instant, he appeared in the ancient dream realm. The weather. Zhao Feng's expression changed, and he felt regretful. The weather of the ancient dream realm had returned to normal, and there were no signs of a storm anywhere. He had focused too much on cultivating and forgot about time. He could only wait for the next time it came, but luckily, he managed to replicate part of the scenery of the scene, and he had used his golden eye to analyze and see the faint changes in structure of the storm's atoms. On top of that, he also had items that stored the ancient lightning. Why don't I create the little world inside the ancient dream realm? Zhao Feng thought for a while. The place he was currently located was relatively safe, and he had the python and bird guarding him. Creating a little world within the misty spatial world would affect it quite a bit. Zhao Feng could use the ancient dream realm to create the basic structure of his little world. then merge the domain of wind lightning into it later. This would most likely be easier to do. After confirming his idea, Zhao Feng sat down. Ever since he started recultivating, Zhao Feng had absorbed a lot of ancient dream realm aura into his body and eaten many fruits from the ancient dream realm. He was able to stay in the ancient dream realm for a very long time now with his current cultivation and physical body. Little worlds couldn't be easily formed. They required a lot of time and effort. However, Zhao Feng had his left eye, which would greatly help him form a little world. He had also thought about the fact that, if he could disintegrate physical items into countless atoms, would he be able to manipulate countless atoms and return something to its original form? Destroying an item was relatively simple, but returning it to its original shape was extremely complex. If Zhao Feng was able to do this, he could most likely create a real world. Of course, those were just some random thoughts. He didn't even know where to start with that. Zhao Feng was still immersed in creating his little world. In a place somewhere else on the continent, 4 figures stood in front of a mountain. These 4 figures were covered in black and radiated a magnificent demonic Tao power that blotted out the sky and sun. One of them was a charming female covered in purple and black lotus flames. She gave off an aura that made the other 3 peak emperors nearby not dare to breathe, and she even started to burn the air with her demonic power. Sacred Lord Dark Lotus, Nan Gongsheng is inside. An emperor next to the charming female said respectfully. Nan Gongsheng wasn't someone that mere emperors could stop. 9 Darkness Palace had already lost 4 unrivaled emperors before this. However, Nan Gongsheng seemed to be able to sense danger and would retreat every time a sacred lord arrived. He also specialized in the Tao of space, meaning that normal emperors weren't even able to stall him if he wanted to run away, but he seemed to be in seclusion at the moment. Junior with the power of the evil god. For you to offend 9 Darkness Palace? You really don't care about your life, do you? Sacred Lord Dark Lotus sat amidst purple and black flaming lotuses, and used her Sacred Lord aura to lock down the entire mountain. Nan Gongsheng, you won't be able to escape this time even if you have wings. An emperor with 1 arm roared with a fierce gaze. He lost an arm to Nan Gongsheng when they tried to kill him last time, and there was a wicked power in the injury preventing it from being healed. Only a sacred lord that specialized in medicine would be able to heal it. Boom! Right as the members of 9 Darkness Palace were about to charge into the mountain, the entire mountain suddenly exploded, and a beam of purple and blood-colored light shot into the sky as a surge of evil power caused even Sacred Lord Dark Lotus to feel pressured. The 3 emperors' hearts shook, and they instinctively moved a couple steps back when they felt that they weren't in control of their power. Who? A wicked youth with purple and blood-colored hair landed in front of Sacred Lord Dark Lotus and company with a flash of silver. He had flower markings on his body that were the same color as his hair. The wicked purple and blood-colored light made the 3 emperors present feel a strong pressure, and they lost control of the true Yuan within their body. Humph! Sacred Lord Dark Lotus snickered coldly as she used her magnificent power to block part of the aura that her subordinates were facing. She then inspected Nan Gongsheng. Quasi-Sacred Lord. Sacred Lord Dark Lotus was stunned. Nan Gongsheng had improved at an alarming rate while being pursued by 9 Darkness Palace. Looks like you have been completely overtaken by the power of the evil god. Sacred Lord Dark Lotus was confident that Nan Gongsheng had already lost his own identity and was being ruled by the power of the evil god, which would be why he could improve at such a rapid rate. Hee hee. Nan Gongsheng laughed coldly with a calm and wicked expression. The power of the evil god isn't something you can control. The purple and black flames around Sacred Lord Dark Lotus rose, as she released the power of a sacred lord and charged toward Nan Gongsheng like a flaming purple lotus. At the same time, the 3 emperors retreated. They didn't dare to participate in a battle that involved a sacred lord. The 3 split up and made sure that Nan Gongsheng would be unable to run away. Nan Gongsheng laughed as he released a glow of purple and silver, and a large purple and blood-colored flower formed behind his back. Wicked light instantly started to flash from his skin, and a layer of silver and purple divine light covered him as he charged toward Sacred Lord Dark Lotus like a demon. Boom! Nan Gongsheng clashed against Sacred Lord Dark Lotus, and with the help of the purple and silver light, he actually managed to push aside the mystic light sacred power of a sacred lord. Nan Gongsheng was like a roaring demon covered in silver and purple light as he charged right into the power of a sacred lord and ripped it apart. What? Sacred Lord Dark Lotus expression changed. Although Nan Gongsheng was just a quasi-sacred lord, the power he used was the same as her mystic light sacred, but it was even stronger. Lotus of the Dark Demon. A black flaming lotus flew out from Sacred Lord Dark Lotus' hand. It released a terrifying demonic Tao sacred power and twisted space as it flew toward Nan Gongsheng. Ha ha ha! Nan Gongsheng charged forward instead of retreating, and he laughed as the purple and silver light around him increased. Evil Demon Claw. Nan Gongsheng extended his right arm, and countless blood-red branches came out of the flower marking on his arm. They formed a giant demonic claw and ripped forward. Boom! Shoo! The surge of evil power and the surge of demonic power clashed and caused a chaotic aura to explode. Black and red twisted together in the center of the explosion, destroying anything and everything. Nan Gongsheng was forced back a couple hundred yards and was covered in purple and blood-colored light, but he revealed a cold and wicked smile as if he was an ancient demon. Sacred Lord Dark Lotus also retreated several hundred yards and looked incredulously toward Nan Gongsheng as fresh blood dripped from her mouth. Humph! Sacred Lord Dark Lotus harumphed as purple and black demonic flames burned in her eyes. Purple demonic brat, you're courting death. Limitless demonic flames ignited once more as everything within 1,000 miles became filled with dark purple flames. Countless black lotuses burned, and it seemed like they could devour everything. Projection of a little world. Sacred Lord Dark Lotus has actually used the power of her little world. The three emperors felt cold and unable to move. They were unable to breathe. And this was under the basis that Sacred Lord Dark Lotus Little World wasn't even aimed at them. The projection of Sacred Lord Dark Lotus Little World started to spread, and Nan Gongsheng's power was repelled by the countless laws of a world. I won't be playing with you today. Nan Gongsheng revealed an evil smile as a surge of purple and blood-colored divine light shot out from his back and clashed with Sacred Lord Dark Lotus Little World. The light actually managed to take over half of the little world's projection. Sacred Lord Dark Lotus expression instantly froze. Nan Gongsheng had also used the projection of a little world. This meant that the power of his little world had reached the level of a sacred lord and was able to exist within the real world. The power that his little world displayed wasn't weaker than Sacred Lord Dark Lotus Little World, and it released a terrifying aura that even surpassed the level of sacred lords. Nan Gongsheng spread the projection of his little world and disappeared into the air with a flash of silver. Nan Gongsheng's spatial talent suddenly became like a fish swimming in water within his own little world. Even sacred lords weren't able to break the projection of little worlds and could only watch on. Arg! With a flash of silver, Nan Gongsheng appeared behind the emperor with the missing arm and smashed a palm onto his head. A wicked soul power instantly devoured his soul. Nan Gongsheng, you! Sacred Lord Dark Lotus roared in anger. But Nan Gongsheng brought the projection of his little world around with him and quickly flew away. The other two emperors stood still as cold sweat drenched their bodies, and they felt their souls shake. Nan Gongsheng managed to run away after fighting against Sacred Lord Dark Lotus head-on, and even killed a demonic Tao emperor as he escaped. He managed to reach such a level? Nan Gongsheng stopped after flying for 10,000 miles, and the voice of the evil god thought body sounded in his body. How is it? Even sacred lords can't do anything to you now. You have surpassed Zhao Feng long ago. Humph. In the memory of that emperor, I learned that Zhao Feng has already killed the 9 Darkness demonic lord of 9 Darkness Palace. Nan Gongsheng snickered coldly as his cold face turned grim. How is that possible? The evil god thought body was extremely surprised. Looks like I can't slack off. I need to quickly merge with this power and control it. Nan Gongsheng's purple and silver eyes were extremely decisive. In the ancient dream realm, Zhao Feng used his crystal core as the foundation for his little world, and the blurry outlines of it started to appear in reality. At the same time, the aura of the ancient dream realm started to merge into it. It was almost as if it was created by the ancient dream realm itself. Wang. Zhao Feng's left eye glittered, and a wave of golden light spread through the air. My little world currently only exists in a mental energy state, but it has bonded with the physical power within the crystal core. Zhao Feng's left eye was able to see everything. At the same time, he knew why the objects within the little world were different than reality. The objects of a little world were created by the power of one's foundation, and because most emperors only cultivated a single element, the objects also only had one element. For example, Duanmu Qing was a wood elemental sacred lord, so his little world was obviously based off the element of wood. There was almost no element of fire since it conflicted with his foundation. My crystal core is different from others. My little world will be more stable than others. Zhao Feng had a clear mind. Right now, his crystal core contained the elements of wind, lightning, water, wood, and fire. Zhao Feng even thought about whether his little world would fully materialize when he learned all 5 elements, but that was a bit far away from him right now. He had only cultivated up to the early stages of the 5 elemental wind lightning technique's 8th level and was still very far away from reaching the peak. It was best to form the little world of wind lightning first and perfect it as time passed. It's about time to merge the domain of wind lightning into it. A layer of wind and lightning appeared around Zhao Feng and started to howl and crackle. Boom! Zhao Feng controlled the domain of wind lightning and made it change shape. With the precise control of his left eye, the domain of wind lightning merged perfectly with the outline of the little world. Now all I need to do is consolidate it. Zhao Feng knew every step clearly. He needed to merge the crystal core dimension, the domain of wind lightning, and the outline of the little world together. This needed to happen in an orderly and steady manner. There was less than half a year remaining till the battle for Crown Prince, and the Ocean Smoke Pavilion was still making their way here because they were near the oceans. Pavilion Master Bai, have we come a bit late? Old Monster Su smiled and asked. The Ocean Smoke Pavilion and the 10,000 Sacred Clan had teamed up, and Supreme Emperor Dark Knight was expanding the assassination organization. Even normal 3-star powers didn't want to offend them. Almost the entire area around the coast was now under the Ocean Smoke Pavilion's control, and Earth Spirit Hall had done nothing. The information agency of the Ocean Smoke Pavilion had expanded too fast, and they were all extremely busy. I believe that Master has already set down the path for us, Bai Qingyue said with certainty and a soft gaze. Master left with Sacred Lord Duanmu. He must have joined the Duanmu family and become part of the 13th Prince's force, Supreme Emperor Dark Knight guessed. The engagement between Zhao Yufei and the 13th Prince had been set for a long time, and even they knew about it despite the distance. Furthermore, the 13th Prince's forces were expanding even faster than the Ocean Smoke Pavilion. I believe in Master's eyes, Bai Qingyue said, and Supreme Emperor Dark Knight had an awkward expression. Bai Qingyue relied too much on Zhao Feng, and she was willing to follow Zhao Feng despite the Dark Heart Seal. However, Supreme Emperor Dark Knight was different. He still wanted to escape Zhao Feng's control 100 years later. He would still remain in the assassination organization and help Zhao Feng, but he didn't want to stay a slave forever. Although the 13th Prince is young, he is favored by the Sacred Emperor and Empress. Adding on the fact that he has a strong force behind him, it is very likely that he'll be able to win even against the 4th Prince, who is currently the strongest, Old Monster Su analyzed. If their master entered the imperial tombs and helped the 13th Prince as well, the prince would have an even bigger chance of winning. Right now, we are in the Gan province, and we're only 1 city away from the great Gan Imperials. Bai Qingyue had a joyful expression. She would be able to meet her master soon. Apart from the 3 of them, there was also Xianxia, the black-robed emperor from the 10,000 Sacred Clan, and several kings. A cold laughter suddenly sounded and passed through the physical and soul dimensions. It made everyone's heart shake, and they immediately stopped moving. All of you still want to go to the great Gan Imperials? I've been waiting here for a long time. A figure in black robes and covered by darkness shot over like a black meteor. His demonic pressure turned everything within 1,000 miles dark, and the kings immediately spat out a mouthful of blood and quickly changed directions. The figure covered in darkness was like a demonic sovereign as they gazed down at the group from the ocean smoke pavilion. "May I ask who you are and why you are stopping us?" Old Monster Su's expression fell as he stood forward. It was obvious that this person was an enemy from their tone and aura. Supreme Emperor Dark Knight flashed out and blocked the Sacred Lord's aura for the members behind him. Otherwise Xianxia and the kings would have been suppressed to death by the aura alone. On the other hand, Bai Qingyue was shocked. 9 Darkness Palace, Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss. Ha ha ha. Do I not have to right to take care of all of you since the Ocean Smoke Pavilion betrayed 9 Darkness Palace? Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss laughed in an arrogant manner. 9 Darkness Palace? Everyone's heart fell. Being a peak 3-star power, 9 Darkness Palace was one of the strongest demonic Dao forces, and they were an enormous monster compared to them. Even though the Ocean Smoke Pavilion had expanded very quickly, they were still unable to compare to this behemoth. Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss in particular was an old Sacred Lord that was usually in seclusion, and his strength was unfathomable. The Ocean Smoke Pavilion never belonged to 9 Darkness Palace in the first place. Bai Qingyue's eyes were decisive. The Ocean Smoke Pavilion was now a 3-star power, and it was even more stable than other normal 3-star forces. They still had plenty of room to expand, and it currently had 2 Sacred Lords. They believed that Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss wouldn't dare to attack them if they entered the city that housed the Imperial Palace. Bai Qingyue believed that whichever prince was supported by Zhao Feng would become the crown prince. And at that point, 9 Darkness Palace would have to think it through multiple times before taking action against the Ocean Smoke Pavilion. Humph, if I say it is, then it is. Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss snickered coldly as his gaze went cold, and his pressure increased dramatically. How dare a measly emperor go against him? Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss felt rather dissatisfied by what Bai Qingyue said. "All of you retreat." Old Monster Su had a solemn expression. Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss was stronger than they first thought. Any random shockwave from a battle between Sacred Lords could kill normal kings. Even Bai Qingyue, who had the strength of a peak emperor, had to retreat. A bunch of ants. Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss gave a smile of mockery as he looked at the group from the Ocean Smoke Pavilion. "Merely 2 beginning stage Sacred Lords want to stop me?" The black light surrounding Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss suddenly expanded and shot through the air like 2 black tentacles. A chaotic demonic Dao aura swept toward Supreme Emperor Dark Knight and Old Monster Su, making their hearts shake slightly. Just as the 2 sides were about to fight, whoosh! A surge of bright, magnificent power in the form of dragons appeared from afar and made countless beings bow down instinctively wherever it went. "Stop!" The voice of a powerful male descended. "Duke Nanfeng, what is the meaning of this? You want to meddle in my business?" Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss's expression changed slightly as he looked at Duke Nanfeng, who was rushing over. "Duke Nanfeng!" The expressions of those from the Ocean Smoke Pavilion turned joyful. Zhao Feng and Duke Nanfeng had a good relationship, and they believed that Duke Nanfeng wouldn't just do nothing. Supreme Emperor Dark Knight and Old Monster Su both let out a breath. The aura that Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss just released a second ago was too terrifying. Now that they had Duke Nanfeng, they felt slightly confident. "Luckily, I made it." Duke Nanfeng let out a breath in his heart when he saw that no one from the Ocean Smoke Pavilion was injured. Luckily, he had given orders for his subordinates to inform him as soon as the Ocean Smoke Pavilion came to the Gan province, and he immediately started rushing over when he heard the news. He had promised Zhao Feng that he would take care of these guys. If something happened on his watch, then it would be extremely bad. At the same time, he didn't expect 9 Darkness Palace to actually send Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss over. "Zhao Feng is the Grand Elder of the Ocean Smoke Pavilion and my friend. I can't just sit here and do nothing when you're trying to kill his subordinates." Duke Nanfeng didn't fear Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss's questioning, and a surge of invisible providence radiated from him. The image of a faint dragon could be seen revolving around him. Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss's eyebrows furrowed slightly. In theory, Duke Nanfeng's actions weren't incorrect. The Ocean Smoke Pavilion was once 9 Darkness Palace's subordinate, and Zhao Feng forcefully taking it has enraged the upper echelon of 9 Darkness Palace. If he wasn't hiding in the Imperial Palace, no one would be able to save him. Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss started to use his own justification when facing Duke Nanfeng, but his demonic pressure actually increased. There was also another reason why they wanted to kill Xiaofeng, and those from the Ocean Smoke Pavilion 9 Darkness Palace had sent 4 emperors after Xiaofeng, but they had all been killed by him. If 9 Darkness Palace just let go of Xiaofeng, where would they put their face? 9 Darkness Palace stands behind the 13th Prince but is attacking the forces of the 9th Prince. The 13th Prince doesn't know of this, right? Duke Nanfeng said. He was using the rules of the battle for Crown Prince to restrict Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss. The battle for Crown Prince didn't allow the princes to do anything that damaged the forces of the other princes. Those from the Ocean Smoke Pavilion were surprised. Didn't Xiaofeng leave with an elder from the Duanmu family? Why did he join the 9th Prince's faction? Furthermore, of all the princes to side with, the 9th Prince was ranked quite low and had a slim chance of becoming the Crown Prince. Ha ha ha, Xiaofeng is just helping the 9th Prince as an individual. If the Ocean Smoke Pavilion wants to join the 9th Prince too, the 9th Prince hasn't agreed to that, right? Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss laughed. He had already thought about all of this before he came out. Duke Nanfeng's expression changed. This was indeed true. In order for any power to join a prince's faction, the prince had to agree to it themselves. But why would any prince reject a free 3-star power? Thus, this point was ignored and forgotten about by many people. Duke Nanfeng, I encourage you to mind your own business. Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss snickered coldly and immediately took action. Even if Duke Nanfeng wanted to stop him, he was still going to kill everyone from the Ocean Smoke Pavilion. Whoosh! 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 Demonic light surged around Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss, and countless tentacles were unleashed. These tentacles looked like they belonged to an ancient beast, and the air became tense as the hearts of all the other sacred lords went cold. Late stages of the mystic light realm. Duke Nanfeng choked on his words. Late stages of the mystic light realm. Duke Nanfeng choked on his words. He didn't expect Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss to have reached the late stages of the mystic light realm after exiting seclusion. This meant that, even if he teamed up with the 2 Sacred Lords from the Ocean Smoke Pavilion, they still wouldn't be Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss's match. Old Monster Su and Supreme Emperor Dark Knight felt a strong surge of power as they faced Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss, and their bodies started to toss and turn. They felt unable to breathe due to the pressure. Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss was like an unrivaled deity. Late stages of the mystic light realm. Old Monster Su was stunned. He and Supreme Emperor Dark Knight had only become Sacred Lords not long ago, so they were still a bit away from normal beginning stage Sacred Lords. Furthermore, Supreme Emperor Dark Knight was an assassin. In a head-on battle, many of his techniques couldn't be used at all. However, even if they could use their full power, it would still be useless against a late-stage Sacred Lord. Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss completely suppressed them in terms of cultivation. Those from the Ocean Smoke Pavilion that had retreated 1,000 miles away felt that something is wrong as well. Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss's aura suddenly rose to an unimaginable level. They felt their hearts shake even from here. Duke Nanfeng also felt helpless. Boom! Countless demonic tentacles shot out from Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss and charged towards Supreme Emperor Dark Knight and Old Monster Su like a predator meeting its prey. Supreme Emperor Dark Knight turned into a dark streak of light that suddenly split apart and dodged the attacks while disappearing into the air. Old Monster Su used all his mystic light's sacred power to retreat, but the tentacles seemed to be infinitely long. After missing, they simply changed directions and continued to attack at the same speed. It twisted and turned in an attempt to surround them, and they never gave up. Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss just stood there and watched coldly, as if he was the god of heaven and earth. Heaven-suppressing demon seal. As the tentacles were about to catch up to Old Monster Su, he circulated his sacred power and released a seal of white light. This white light had a pure aura that could suppress the power of demons. Boom! Old Monster Su's scared hand seal clashed with several tentacles. Bam! In front of the absolute mystic light's sacred power, Old Monster Su's secret technique was completely destroyed. The demonic tentacles passed through the sacred power and shot furiously toward Old Monster Su. At the same time, Supreme Emperor Dark Knight suddenly appeared behind Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss and stabbed a shadow-like sword that glittered with a black light toward him. Humph! Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss snickered coldly, and he didn't even move against Supreme Emperor Dark Knight's ambush. The air behind Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss started to twist as a tentacle shot out toward Supreme Emperor Dark Knight with a chaotic and destructive aura. Whoosh! The instant Supreme Emperor Dark Knight's secret technique clashed with the demonic tentacles. A flash of darkness split off and hid. Shwa! Supreme Emperor Dark Knight's doppelganger and the demonic tentacle both shattered. Supreme Emperor Dark Knight had given up one doppelganger just to destroy the demonic tentacle. He couldn't get close to Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss. In the clash, Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss didn't even move, and yet he was able to force the two Sacred Lords into a desperate situation. Duke Nanfeng stood on the side and witnessed this with shock. I can't just keep on watching. The dragons around Duke Nanfeng suddenly rose and broke through the restrictions of his power. Whoosh! Just as Duke Nanfeng was about to take action, Jiang, an immortal sword intent appeared, and it seemed like it could slash through the heavens. An ancient green tattered sword sliced forward and radiated a sharp aura that seemed to be able to force back the heavens. A white figure formed from swordlight appeared behind the tattered sword. It was the figure of an elder with a long mustache who gave off an immortal soul sword intent that pushed back all the tentacles. So close! Old Monster Su's heart shook as he looked at the ancient green tattered sword in shock and didn't know what was going on. That is an ancient god weapon. Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss's face was filled with shock. It had to be an ancient god sword for it to be able to cut through his demonic tentacles so easily and give off such an immortal sword intent. The white light behind it also contained the laws of the soul sword. This was the only ancient god weapon that had appeared in the divine illusion dimension. Furthermore, Little Sword Saint Guyu from the Sky Sword Pavilion had obtained the recognition of the ancient god weapon and transformed into a soul sword that merged with the ancient god weapon and became its weapon spirit. Because of this, there were rumors of the Sky Sword Pavilion returning to its former glorious 4-star days. Why is the ancient god weapon here? Duke Nanfeng was surprised and puzzled at the same time. The power of the ancient god weapon was indeed shocking. Senior Sword Saint. A girl in black started to slowly fly over. It was the prodigy of the Sky Sword Pavilion's younger generation, Mo Dongyao. Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss' expression became grim. Why was the Sky Sword Pavilion interfering too? Furthermore, Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss could feel a hidden sword intent not far away. This made Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss stop. At this moment, a voice sounded from the image of the little sword saint. Sacred Lord, I owe Xiaofeng a favor, so I can't just do nothing. Hearing that, Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss boiled with anger. Xiaofeng again. What the heck did Xiaofeng do in the divine illusion dimension for little sword Saint Guyu to owe him a favor? You're just the weapon spirit of an ancient god weapon. How much power can you even use? Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss said coldly. Mo Dongyao was completely ignored by him because her cultivation level was too low. His attention was mainly focused on the hidden sword intent. The Sky Sword Pavilion would definitely not allow the ancient god weapon and their prodigy to appear in the outside world in such a casual manner. There was definitely a peerless sword Dao expert protecting them in secret. However, when he thought about it, that was what Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss wanted, because as long as he didn't harm Mo Dongyao or plan to steal the ancient god weapon, the Sacred Lord from the Sky Sword Pavilion wouldn't do anything. This will be much easier then. Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss revealed a deadly smile, and killing intent flashed in his eyes as he looked toward Old Monster Su and Supreme Emperor Dark Knight. He wasn't scared of the ancient god weapon. He had to kill those from the Ocean Smoke Pavilion. But the ancient god tattered sword suddenly released a glow of light and landed in Duke Nanfeng's hand. Jiang. Duke Nanfeng paused for a moment before understanding what the little sword saint wanted. Wang, Duke Nanfeng, who was surrounded by light dragons and holding the ancient god weapon, instantly released a world-shaking sword beam that shot into the sky. Sacred Lord, demonic abyss, magnificent aura crumbled against the immortal sword intent. The figure of the transparent little sword saint behind Duke Nanfeng released the intent of the soul sword. Their combined force changed the color of the sky, and it seemed like they had become a peerless sword saint. What is this? Sacred Lord, demonic abyss was dazed. Was this even possible? With the addition of Draconic Providence, Duke Nanfeng had the battle power of an early-stage mystic light realm, and with the help of the ancient god weapon on top, his battle power easily exceeded the late stages of the mystic light realm. Supreme Emperor Dark Knight and Old Monster Su were filled with excitement. The current Duke Nanfeng gave off a peerless pressure that stunned heaven and earth. As expected of an ancient god weapon, Old Monster Su sighed. Sacred Lord, I only owe Xiao Feng a favor and don't want to be your enemy. The voice of the little sword saint within the white light sounded in the soul dimension. Sacred Lord, demonic abyss, the battle for Crown Prince has already begun, and all the forces of the great Gone Lord dynasty have been swept into it. No one knows what will happen in the future, Duke Nanfeng said as he gave off a powerful pressure. Sacred Lord, demonic abyss looked toward Duke Nanfeng and understood what he meant. Nine Darkness Palace had lost a large quantity of middle-echelon fighters, and even a Sacred Lord in their attempts to deal with the purple-haired demonic duo. If he was injured as well, all because he wanted to deal with a junior at the Void God realm, it wouldn't sound good, and it would probably affect 9 Darkness Palace's progress in the future. Now that the peak 3-star Sky Sword Pavilion had gained the recognition of the ancient god weapon, no one was certain about what could happen. Fine. I'll give Duke Nanfeng and the Sky Sword Pavilion face and let all of you live. Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss's voice sounded as he gave himself an excuse that he could use to step back. Humph! The demonic tentacles in the air started to contract and turn into black scales that covered Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss as he started to leave. The pressure of a demonic Dao Sacred Lord also started to fade away. Many thanks to the Sky Sword Pavilion for helping. Those from the Ocean Smoke Pavilion gave their thanks. I've repaid Zhao Feng's favor. If there's nothing else, I will be leaving. The ancient god weapon left a streak of green light as it landed in Mo Dongyao's hand, and they left. At this moment, within the ancient dream realm, the sky was bright and sunny, but a part of the forest was covered in a storm of wind and lightning. I formed the basic structure of a little world. Zhao Feng sat in the middle of his little world. Wind and lightning roared around him, but it had no effect on him. The true Yuan within his crystal core slowly filled every corner of the little world, just like how blood was pumped to each and every limb. He could feel that he was the lord of this little world and controlled everything within it. He even had a slight control over the laws of the ancient dream realm. To use a little world, one would materialize it into reality and control part of the laws of reality. At this point in time, Zhao Feng's little world was only a couple hundred meters wide, which was nothing in comparison to the 9 Darkness Sacred Lord's 1,000-mile-wide little world projection. The power of my little world isn't enough. Looks like the connection between the domain of wind lightning and the crystal core dimension isn't strong enough. Zhao Feng's left I could see through everything. The structure of the little world must be extremely strong or else it would be hard to perfect it in the future. On a certain day, dark clouds filled the air above the ancient dream realm, and flashes of lightning could be seen. Is it here? Zhao Feng opened his eyes. Dark clouds filled the air above the ancient dream realm as a wisp of lightning started brewing. Is it here? Zhao Feng was extremely excited, but his eyes were solemn. He had formed his little world within the ancient dream realm because he wanted to wait for the next storm. Ever since he had this idea, he wanted to give it a try, comprehend the little world of wind lightning during an ancient dream realm storm. Plop, plop, plop. The sky started to turn dark as drops of rain fell from the sky. When the raindrops entered Zhao Feng's little world, he felt that it was starting to become chaotic. He couldn't control the raindrops that entered his little world. Right now, I can only control what I create in my little world. I'm unable to affect other objects, and other objects can even affect the stability of my little world. Zhao Feng's eyebrows furrowed together. His little world was too weak. However, he didn't remember that he was in the ancient dream realm. If he returned to reality, his control over space would surpass a newly formed little world of a normal emperor. The raindrops from the ancient dream realm also contained a lot of ancient aura that was completely different from the dimension he lived in. In order to control these raindrops, he needed to have a deep understanding. In order to affect the laws of the ancient dream realm, he needed to understand the origin of the ancient dream realm to a certain degree, and Zhao Feng was extremely far away from that step. Boom! The rain got bigger, and the occasional flash of lightning appeared. Zhao Feng raised his head. The storm this time is much smaller than last time. Even though that was the case, Zhao Feng's little world started to turn transparent when the raindrops fell into it, as if it was going to disappear any moment. A light flashed through Zhao Feng's eyes as he circulated his crystal core dimension. A surge of wind lightning true yuan instantly flowed to every corner of the little world, and the outline of the little world around Zhao Feng became a bit clearer. An occasional flash of lightning appeared in the dark clouds. Below these dark clouds was another layer of half-transparent clouds that was ravaged by wind and lightning. This scene was extremely weird. It was as if there were two skies in one world. Like this, Zhao Feng started to feel the faint aura of wind and lightning among the rain of the ancient dream realm. The little world changed with his mind and started to slowly become realistic. Boom! A crackle of lightning sounded from above Zhao Feng's head and caused his little world to unleash a torrent of lightning bolts. The pressure of something that ruled over everything in the world appeared, and a strong sense of danger made Zhao Feng's left eye give out a warning. Not good. Boom! 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 A giant bolt of lightning landed right where Zhao Feng was standing and left behind a black crater. Everything within 10 meters had disappeared. There was still smoking and burning black pieces of wood nearby. The Yao bird and python in the tree looked at the hole with puzzled eyes and shaking bodies. The next instant, a golden-haired youth appeared in the very center of the black crater. The giant python and Yao bird witnessed all of this and thought nothing of it. While the cultivation of their master wasn't very high, he had the ability to move like a ghost. So close. Zhao Feng was relieved. He was in the process of comprehending, so his sense toward the outside world was weak. If it wasn't for the warning of his left eye that woke him up, he would have been killed by the lightning bolt. Lightning shouldn't have fallen in such a weak storm. Looks like it was attracted by my little world of wind lightning. Zhao Feng analyzed. This was the first giant bolt of lightning that had fallen since the storm showed up. The little world of wind lightning was still in its beginning stages, so its ability to attract lightning was nothing compared to his sacred lightning body. If he circulated his sacred lightning body here, it would instantly attract several bolts of lightning. Furthermore, the weather was getting worse, so the chances of ancient lightning descending would become bigger. This meant that Zhao Feng might need to leave the ancient dream realm at any moment, so he didn't dare to spread his little world of wind lightning anymore. After collecting some wood that contained some ancient lightning nearby, Zhao Feng sat down in the very middle of the hole. There's only 2 months left till the battle for Crown Prince. I must finish the early stages of my little world by then. Zhao Feng had a clear mind. For normal emperors, forming a normal little world within a year meant that they were a peerless prodigy. But with Zhao Feng's analyzing and learning ability, for months was enough. However, the little world of wind lightning he wanted to form contained the intent from the ancient dream realm and was far more difficult than a normal little world. Once Zhao Feng finished the early stages of his little world, its power would be able to easily suppress a normal emperor's little world, similar to how Zhao Feng wasn't even able to last 3 breaths the first time he entered the ancient dream realm. Several forces stood within the 9th prince's palace. Many kings and emperors stood on the side. Only some 3-star powers, experts with noble ranks, and sacred lords were allowed to speak. Supreme Emperor Dark Knight, Old Monster Su, Duke Nanfeng, and Zhou Suer were all here, but the atmosphere was tense. 9th Prince, are we really going to give the position of Beast Tamer to Zhao Feng? A muscular middle-aged male had a dissatisfied expression. His every movement and action gave off a powerful force, and this was still under the basis that he was trying to conceal it. The 9th Prince's expression was also slightly grim. In reality, he had wanted to give the sole specialist position to Zhao Feng, but the latter already told everyone that he was the Beast Tamer. In addition, the Ji family originally supported him, But after learning that Zhao Feng was a member of the 9th Prince's force, they immediately left and joined the 8th Prince, which was a big blow. When the 9th Prince went to ask why, the elder from the Ji family replied as such. With Zhao Feng present, it'll be hard for the Ji family to gain the position of sole specialist. The 9th Prince was helpless, but since the Ji family had already joined the 8 Prince's side, it was no use no matter how he explained. However, Zhao Feng's support also gave the 9th Prince some other supporters, such as Duke Nanfeng and the Ocean Smoke Pavilion. To a certain extent, Zhou Suer was also supporting him because of Zhao Feng. Well, Zhao Feng is also an extremely talented beast tamer. The 9th Prince smiled and replied. He believed that Zhao Feng would use his true skills and not trick him. Duke Nanfeng and the members of the Ocean Smoke Pavilion were all puzzled as well. While Zhao Feng was indeed a talented beast tamer, his personal battle power and mysterious eye bloodline techniques were far superior. However, the members of the Ocean Smoke Pavilion didn't have any right to question Zhao Feng's choices. The muscular male said no more. He was from the Shi family, which was the only member of 8 big families standing behind the 9th Prince. He wasn't fighting for the position of beast tamer, he was just thinking of the group, and he hoped that each member was the best possible choice for their position because their opponents were simply too strong. In the original report of overall strength, the 9th Prince was ranked 6th, but now it had dropped to 7th. This meant that, in this period of time, the other princes had met more fortune than the 9th Prince. The 8th Prince, who was originally ranked 7th, was now ranked 4th and even had the momentum to fight for the position of Crown Prince. The current members had no confidence when facing the terrifying groups of the other princes. Sure, Yulei. As long as we work together and use Shun Jizi's tactics, we have a chance. Old Ying's voice sounded. We can't jump to rash conclusions right now. Anything can change. And staff-wielding elder with a white beard said slowly. Shinjizi was once a famous sage who knew divination, but no news of him had been heard for many years. His appearance surprised many of the older generation. A sentence from each of the elders instantly calmed everyone down. Tomorrow is the fight for the positions. Zhao Feng still hasn't come out of seclusion. A dissatisfied voice sounded from the elder of a normal 3-star power. The fight for positions was the final obstacle to confirm the positions and usually didn't take too much time. For example, the 9th Prince had 7 slots in total. Zhou Suer was extremely famous for her healing abilities, and no one would be willing to challenge her over it. Even if they thought they had a chance, they wouldn't dare to. Shi Yulei was a prodigy of the Shi family who had awakened his bloodline, and he was from an earlier generation. The Shi family was the biggest force behind the 9th Prince's back, so no one would try to take his spot. In fact, if the Shi family wanted to take a second spot, the normal forces wouldn't dare to say anything. Furthermore, there were 2 more unique rules in the fight for the positions. The first was that only the forces that supported the specific prince or a neutral force had the right to challenge the position. The second was that the challenger's cultivation couldn't exceed the person with the position. For example, if a beast tamer wanted to challenge Zhao Feng, then this beast tamer couldn't come from any force behind any of the other princes, and their cultivation couldn't exceed Zhao Feng's. With all these restrictions, the fight for the positions wasn't really that complex or exciting as one might imagine. If Zhao Feng doesn't come out of seclusion by tomorrow, then we'll just have to interrupt him. The 9th Prince felt slightly helpless. He remembered how Zhao Feng entered seclusion during their first visit as well. However, the 9th Prince was slightly looking forward to it. Zhao Feng was one of his core members, so it would only be good for him if Zhao Feng became stronger. An aura suddenly appeared, and the expressions of all the experts changed as they looked outside. His Highness 9th Prince, I'll be interrupting you. A powerful elder in dark red robes stood outside the hall, and his pressure caused all the experts in the hall to start breathing more heavily. Next to him were several others from the Tai family, and one of them was a pretty female who scanned her eyes urgently across the hall. Senior Hongnan, tomorrow is the fight for the positions. May I ask why you're here? The 9th Prince gave a faint smile as he went forward. The Tai family was one of the best among the 8 big families and was no weaker than peak 3-star powers. They currently stood on the 4th Prince's side. I'm here to find Zhao Feng. Tai Hongnan's voice resounded across the hall, and no one dared to stop his disrespectful actions. Even the elder representing the Shi family bowed their head and didn't speak. Although they were both from one of the 8 big families, the Shi family was nowhere near the Tai family, who guarded against the non-human races in the northwestern region. Furthermore, this Tai Hongnan wasn't some random member of the Tai family. He was an old sacred lord. Senior Hongnan. Zhao Feng is still in seclusion. The 9th prince had an apologetic expression. Are you sure he's not just hiding from the Tai family? Tai Hongnan's expression turned slightly angry as a wave of fiery aura spread and pressured all the other experts present. Their souls started to tremble, and the true yuan and blood within their bodies were about to burn. Are you sure he's not just hiding from the Tai family? Tai Hongnan's expression turned slightly angry as a wave of fiery aura spread and pressured all the other experts present. Their souls started to tremble, and the true yuan and blood within their bodies were about to burn. The hearts of Old Monster Su and Supreme Emperor Dark Knight faintly shook. The aura that this Tai Hongnan displayed was on par with Sacred Lord Demonic Abyss. No one present dared to say anything in the face of a Tai family Sacred Lord's interrogation. Grand Elder, Zhao Feng is indeed not here. Tai Lydian, who was next to Tai Hongnan, scanned over the place and said, the Tai family knew that Zhao Feng was in seclusion, so they waited till now. But Zhao Feng was still in seclusion the day before the position fights? This made them suspicious that Zhao Feng was purposely avoiding the Tai family. Tell Zhao Feng to come out. I want to talk to him. Tai Hongnan's terrifying aura spread once more across the hall and transformed it turn into a burning hell. Senior Hongnan, this isn't good. You're supporting the 4th prince, but you want to disturb a member of my team from cultivating? The 9th prince had to say this, and he believed that Tai Hongnan knew what he meant. These were the rules for the fight for Crown Prince. The forces behind each prince couldn't disturb the subordinates of the other princes. The 9th prince not giving in to the pressure of the Tai family made the experts within the hall feel good, but at the same time, they could clearly feel the difference between them. The 4th prince didn't just have the peak 3-star Tai family behind him, he also had the Dong family and 2 Grand Duke palaces. Even the 4-star Sky Suspension Palace stood behind the 4th prince. There were also countless 2-star and 3-star forces. And yet, the Tai family alone scared everyone from the 9th prince's side. Grand Elder, why don't we just wait a while? Tomorrow is the day for the fights, so Zhao Feng will definitely come out of seclusion by then. Tai Litian's expression changed slightly as he said, even the Tai family didn't dare to disobey the rules set by the Imperials. Fine, but if Zhao Feng hasn't come out of seclusion by tomorrow, I will take it that he's not going to participate in the fight for the positions, meaning that he won't be considered a member of the 9th prince's force. Tai Hongnan looked at the 9th prince with a hint of praise, but then scanned over the other experts present with a threatening meaning. After Tai Hongnan and the others from the Tai family left, the temperature of the hall returned to normal, but it was now dead silent. The 9th prince felt helpless. If the Ji family was here, they would have been able to put up a fight in terms of momentum and not lose so much morale. At this moment, a kind-looking male in dragon robes walked over. Zihong, don't give up. Although there aren't many forces behind you, all of your team members are elites and full of potential. 11th uncle. The 9th prince's expression changed slightly, and he felt extremely unwilling. Being the leader, everyone had reached this stage for his sake, so he couldn't show any signs of wavering. The 9th prince's eyes lit up. He couldn't let everyone down. At the same time, those who had gained a spot felt confident and full of anger. I believe everyone is outstanding and won't be replaced by anyone else in the fight for the positions tomorrow. The 9th prince looked toward a handful of the people. Those that didn't belong to a force could join in the fight for the positions, but these individuals wouldn't dare to take a position from a strong force and would only go for the weaker forces. The next day, the draconic providence of the entire Great Gone Lord dynasty started to move, as if a golden dragon was about to awaken. The draconic providence swept over every direction. There were 10 arenas in the biggest martial arts field in the Great Gone Imperial Palace. The martial arts field was surrounded by a hall where the princes and their forces spectated. Above the imperial palace in the clouds 1,000 miles away were countless experts and forces. Pavilion Master Bai, tell Zhao Feng to come out of seclusion. The 9th prince faintly shook his head. Did Zhao Feng actually forget about the fight for Crown Prince? Being the Ocean Smoke Pavilion Master, Bai Qingyue didn't want to interrupt Zhao Feng, but she had to at this point. Bai Qingyue faintly nodded her head and left toward where Zhao Feng was in seclusion. At this moment, Tai Lydian was already slowly walking over. Your Highness 9th Prince, has Zhao Feng still not come out seclusion? Everyone's heart fell. Someone from the Tai family had already come. If Tai Hongnan did what he did yesterday and questioned them in front of all the forces of the Lord Dynasty, what should they do? Right as they were worrying, a voice sounded, 9th Prince, I've come late. Zhao Feng walked over with an apologetic expression, and all the forces around the 9th Prince looked over. Zhao Feng's infamous name spread throughout the great gone Lord Dynasty 4 years ago, but he had always been in seclusion after arriving at the Imperial Palace, so no one had seen him or his beast-taming abilities. However, he was able to take an important position. The Sacred Lord from the Tai family came yesterday because of Zhao Feng as well. Adding all of this together with Zhao Feng's infamous name caused them to be quite dissatisfied with Zhao Feng. If it wasn't for the fact that Zhao Feng was the Grand Elder of the Ocean Smoke Pavilion and had a good relationship with Duke Nanfeng, they would have already persuaded the 9th Prince to take away Zhao Feng's position. Zhao Feng, it's okay as long as you came. The 9th Prince had a faint smile as he inspected Zhao Feng. The elder from the Shi family had a surprised expression. The life force and body strength of this junior is on par with Shi Yulei. One had to know that the Shi family was traditionally a body-strengthening family, and Shi Yulei was a genius from the previous generation who had awakened his bloodline. Zhao Feng, the Grand Elder of the Tai family, invites you over to have a talk. Tai Lydian inspected Zhao Feng once again with a complex expression, but he didn't hide the praise in his eyes. At this moment in time, Zhao Feng had reached the late stages of the Void God realm, but he gave off an unfathomable feeling. His steady aura surpassed most ancient emperors, and his golden eye made one feel uneasy. However, what made him most excited was that he could feel Zhao Feng's perfect Blood Devil Sun bloodline had become even purer. There's nothing for me to talk about with the Tai family. Zhao Feng immediately knew what Tai Lydian wanted to talk about as soon as he saw him. Back then, he told Tai Lydian that he was cutting the original owner's ties. Zhao Feng, regardless of anything else, your body belongs to the Tai family, and the blood of the Tai family flows through you. That is reality. You can't escape from it, Tai Lydian persuaded. If Zhao Feng returned to the Tai family, he would definitely become a supreme expert of the Lord Dynasty. The thought of his perfect bloodline held a tinge of hope for the Tai family to become the strongest 3-star power, and perhaps even a 4-star superpower. Escape! Zhao Feng didn't think as such. He was never trying to run away. If one wanted to count every single Tai from the past, it would never end. Escaping was only what the Tai family thought was happening. They thought that Zhao Feng was avoiding them. Fine, I'll come with you. Zhao Feng sighed as his gaze became decisive. There had to be an ending to this. The Tai family was one of the strongest powers, and it was an enormous force that was deeply connected to the Imperials. If he didn't resolve this misunderstanding, it would drag on forever. Seeing Zhao Feng follow Tai Lydian, the 9th Prince's forces let out a breath. They knew a bit about Zhao Feng, and while they were envious, they were puzzled at the same time. Why didn't Zhao Feng just join the Tai family in the first place? Zhao Feng's appearance caught the attention of many experts from the 13th Prince's Hall. The square-faced Grand Elder of the Duanmu family and Duanmu Qing looked at Zhao Feng with a complicated expression, while the 13th Prince and those from 9 Darkness Palace had killing intent in their eyes. The 4th Prince's Hall was silent. The huge number of terrifying existences made some 2-star and 3-star forces afraid to even breathe out loud. At this moment, Tai Lydian appeared with Zhao Feng outside the hall. Zhao Feng. The 4th Prince looked at Zhao Feng and felt that he was steadier than before. At the same time, the other experts within the 4th Prince's Hall also inspected this golden-haired youth. Zhao Feng, we meet again. Xian Wuheng had a faint smile. He and Zhao Feng both came from the same hometown, so he was extremely happy that he could meet Zhao Feng again in the continent zone. It's Zhao Feng. Shenyuan Wen's eyes glittered with a surge of battle intent. Now that he had started to gain control of the substandard god weapon, he wouldn't be caught off guard again like what happened in the divine illusion dimension. Zhao Feng, a red-haired male with a cold gaze from the Tai family, looked over. He had heard that an elder of the family had found the perfect blood devil son bloodline outside. Furthermore, Zhao Feng's display in the divine illusion dimension was also extremely outstanding. Even Shenyuan Wan was at a disadvantage against him. You are Zhao Feng? Tai Hongnan's eyes were like fire, and they glittered with a weird red light as he looked at Zhao Feng. Fenger! The pretty female with furrowed eyebrows and pale expression behind Tai Hongnan cried out. At this instant, everyone was calling out Zhao Feng's name. This made the mouths of the various 2-star and 3-star representatives fall wide open. Even the elder from Sky Suspension Palace opened his eyes and gave an interested glance toward Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng stood there with a calm expression. His golden eye scanned over everyone and memorized what they said. At last, his gaze stopped on Tai Hongnan. So strong. This was the only thing Zhao Feng could say. He was several dozen times stronger than the 9 Darkness Demonic Lord back then. The casual pressure from Tai Hongnan made his body feel heavy, and he felt unable to breathe like he was bound by ropes. Is this the sacred lord from the Tai family? Zhao Feng started to secretly circulate his sacred lightning body. Tai Hongnan looked at Zhao Feng with a fiery gaze and secretly circulated his secret technique. Zhao Feng instantly felt as if he was being burned, and the blood devil sun bloodline within his body started to boil as if it was going to erupt at any moment. Boom! A faint blood-red light surged from Zhao Feng and covered his body. Good! Perfect blood devil sun bloodline. Tai Hongnan's face was filled with joy and excitement as he stood up and spread his terrifying fiery aura. Good! Perfect blood devil sun bloodline. Tai Hongnan's face was filled with joy and excitement as he stood up and spread his terrifying fiery aura. If it wasn't for the fact that the Imperial Palace was made from strong materials and had the protection of draconic providence, this hall would have crumbled already. Everyone looked at the glass-like red light glowing from Zhao Feng's body with shock. Perfect blood devil sun bloodline. This was a powerful bloodline that could be ranked within the top 10 of Imperial Dao bloodlines. If the Tai family was able to control this bloodline once more, it wasn't impossible for them to become a 4-star power in the future. The heart of an elder from the Dong family rose into the air, and the expressions of all the forces changed. The red-haired male next to Tai Hongnan felt the blood within his body boil. Perfect blood devil sun bloodline, the red-haired male thought as he looked at Zhao Feng with battle intent. Zhao Feng's expression was grim as he opened his golden eye, and an ancient and desolate aura was released from the mysterious golden ball in the dimension of his left eye. The blood devil sun bloodline within his body instantly shook and calmed down. Tai Hongnan was still lost in joy by Zhao Feng's blood devil sun bloodline, but he suddenly realized that it had been suppressed. Tai Hongnan looked at Zhao Feng's eye and was faintly shocked. This kid also had a powerful eye bloodline within his body, and the feeling this eye bloodline gave him wasn't any weaker than the purple star eyes bloodline of the Ji family. Even he couldn't see through it. Different unique bloodlines had appeared in the Tai family in the past, but there was never an eye bloodline. This should be the original Zhao Feng's eye bloodline. Tai Hongnan already had his guesses. A bloodline that was able to suppress the perfect blood devil sun bloodline was definitely not normal, but there was no similar eye bloodline among the Imperial Dao bloodlines ranked higher than the blood devil sun bloodline. Could Zhao Feng have a bloodline of the 10,000 ancient races? Tai Hongnan's expression instantly changed. That was the only possibility. He originally wanted to force Zhao Feng to stay in the Tai family and make a few children for them, but now Zhao Feng's eye bloodline had caught his interest too. It was extremely rare for someone to have 2 powerful bloodlines. As long as they didn't die, they would become beings that could move the clouds of the entire continent. The Tai family could raise a genius like this. Furthermore, since Zhao Feng had these 2 bloodlines and didn't have a problem, that meant that they didn't conflict with one another. and his descendants could inherit both bloodlines. The perfect blood devil son bloodline and an ancient eye bloodline. Tai Hongnan felt his blood boil. If the Tai family was able to obtain a powerful eye bloodline no weaker than the Ji families, they would be able to surpass their former peak and reach a height never before seen. Zhao Feng, are you willing to join the Tai family? Tai Hongnan asked in a calm voice. He used a different tone than before, as if he was talking to a junior of the Tai family that had been lost. I've already said I'm not from the Tai family and that I'm not interested, Zhao Feng replied without even thinking. He could tell from Tai Hongnan's gaze that the Tai family was thinking about his left eye. If he joined the Tai family, he would start to lose control of things, and the secret of his god eye might be discovered. There was no way to guarantee that the Tai family wouldn't do something nefarious. Zhao Feng, the blood that flows through you is the blood of the Tai family. I even brought your mother here today. Tai Hongnan was slightly surprised, but he didn't get angry and continued to speak. He understood what Zhao Feng was like from Tai Litian's report, so he had many other preparations. Fenger, it's me. Your mother. The pretty female behind Tai Hongnan instantly went forward and cried out. She knew that her true son was gone, but it was enough that this body was her son's. She would rather watch Zhao Feng live on, and she would do whatever it took. I only have one mother. Zhao Feng looked at Tai Shuli and then Tai Hongnan with a decisive gaze. If they hadn't abandoned the original Zhao Feng in the first place, this wouldn't have happened to them. There was a reason for everything. Zhao Feng, you know that the body you are currently using belongs to the Tai family. Tai Hongnan was someone that was easily enraged, and his tone changed when he saw Zhao Feng so decisively refuse to give him any face. No, sacred lord. The original owner of this body was called Zhao Feng of the Zhao family. Zhao Feng had already thought of what to say when they mentioned the body being from the Tai family. Some of the current people present didn't quite understand what was going on, but they could slowly start to tell from this exchange. Zhao Feng had taken the body of a member of the Tai family who was originally abandoned somewhere, and he managed to awaken the perfect blood devil son bloodline. However, the current Zhao Feng wasn't the previous Zhao Feng anymore, and he showed no signs of wanting to join the Tai family. However, against the pressure of the Tai family, was not wanting to enough? Some of the 3-star forces and families had grim expressions. Zhao Feng had such a birth? Shen Yuan one had a headache. So, it was the perfect blood devil son bloodline. Xian Wuheng remembered how part of his true Yuan was mysteriously sucked away when he fought Zhao Feng in the divine illusion dimension. I'm a part of the 9th Prince's force right now, Sacred Lord. Isn't forcing me to join the Tai family a bit? Zhao Feng gave a faint smile as he continued to speak. Technically, Tai Hongnan's actions were already going against the rules of the fight for Crown Prince, and because they were in the Imperial Palace right now, Tai Hongnan didn't dare to take action. Tai Hongnan's expression turned red with anger. A measly Void God Realm King who wasn't even part of the Tai family dared to reject his invitation in such a tone. Being an elder of the Tai family, he had never met such a situation before. An invisible fiery hot aura rose, and the kings and emperors within the hall felt dry. Senior Hongnan, please calm down. The fights for the positions are about to start. The 4th prince immediately got up and stopped Tai Hongnan's anger. After bowing, Zhao Feng left the 4th prince's hall. Let's go. The fights for the positions have started. The 4th prince quickly calmed down, and 10 members with powerful auras stood up. Zhuge Yun, Shen Yuan 1, Xian Wuheng, and the red-haired male were part of these 10. After leaving the hall, Zhao Feng headed straight for the arena. The arena was made from a heaven-grade material and contained many arrays. Even beginning-stage sacred lords could only barely damage it. The arena was protected by arrays and draconic providence to protect against any shockwave. At this point, the 9th Prince's subordinates were all sitting in the arena already, including Olding, Zhou Suer, Xin Jizi, and Shi Yulei. There was also a middle-aged male with a steady aura and a slim cold female in black clothes. This was the 9th Prince's team for the battle to become Crown Prince. Each of them specialized in a different point and were all extremely talented. Apart from Zhou Suer, the others were all from the previous generation or even older. Zhao Feng, why did the Tai family want to talk to you? Zhou Suer immediately asked when Zhao Feng sat down. It wasn't exactly a small matter that Sacred Lord Hongnan from the Tai family personally came to find Zhao Feng. The other members were all curious as well. Zhao Feng and Tai Hongnan's conversion was stopped by a barrier, so only those within the hall could hear. They could only see Tai Hongnan become extremely angry, so they wanted to know what made Tai Hongnan so angry. The cause of all this still had a casual expression. He wanted me to join the Tai family? Zhao Feng simply replied, and everyone apart from Olding and Shinjizi stared at Zhao Feng with open mouths. They had only heard of Zhao Feng's name. They had never actually witnessed his abilities before. What kind of talent did Zhao Feng have for the Tai family to send Tai Hongnan to personally invite him to join the Tai family? If you don't want to tell me, then don't. Zhou Suer became slightly angry and didn't believe him. She thought that Zhao Feng was just making that up. The others all thought that Zhao Feng was joking as well. Ridiculous. Sure, Yulei harumphed coldly. The Tai family was one of the strongest amongst the 8 big families. How could an elder of the Tai family invite someone with a different surname to join them? Now that all the members of the arena had arrived, the fights for the positions began. This one is Zhou Wenwei from Elegant Wind Hall and would like to test Senior Jing Kai's strength. A skinny middle-aged male walked out. His eyes were clear and full of confidence as he challenged the male in the group who had a steady aura. Elegant Wind Hall was a normal 3-star power that supported the 9th prince but hadn't obtained a position. The male with a steady aura next to Zhao Feng walked out. At this instant, fights had already started in the other arenas. It was either an exchange between a raise, soul strength, or a head-on fight. Zhao Feng circulated his left eye and watched all the exchanges with a 360-degree angle. Only by knowing every opponent did one have hope to win. Zhao Feng revealed a faint smile. After defeating a Grandmaster Beast Tamer 1.5 years ago with a spiritual pet from the 10,000 ancient races, news should have spread by now, and so he most likely didn't need to do anything. Boom! Jing Kai released his condensed aura, and a sparkling gold light that seemed to pierce through everything moved around his body in a certain pattern. On the other hand, a long green sword appeared in Zhou Wenwei's hand. It gave off a cold glow of light and summoned whirlwinds when it moved. The 2 emperors instantly clashed. Jing Kai's attacks were continuous, and the golden light was everywhere. On the other side, Zhou Wenwei was agile and had sharp attacks, but Jing Kai controlled the match from the beginning, so that Zhou Wenwei was forced to dodge and defend. Pierce! The golden light around Jing Kai suddenly formed into a transparent sword that shot forward. At the same time, wooden roots appeared in the ground and blocked Zhou Wenwei's paths of retreat. Boom! Zhou Wenwei's body was pierced through by 10,000 beams of light and thrown off the arena as blood spurted out from his mouth. Thank you for going easy on me, Senior Jing Kai. Zhou Wenwei was taken away by an elder of Elegant Wind Hall. The members of the 9th Prince's group who didn't know Jing Kai well, now, knew a bit about his strength. He had sharp metal elemental attacks, and he specialized in the element of wood as well, which could support him and catch others off guard. This was indeed an outstanding battle member. An expert that specializes in the elements of metal and wood. Zhao Feng murmured in his heart. Jing Kai's control of these 2 elements was on point. The element of metal was used for attack while the element of wood was used for healing and support. They synergized well and didn't conflict with each other. After Jing Kai displayed his strength, it was obvious what the female in black specialized in, the soul. This position was originally supposed to be Zhao Feng's, but he had taken the position of Beast Tamer instead. Old Man Guxiang from the Void Ocean Pavilion would like to challenge Lady Su Qingling. A peaceful-looking elder holding a staff slowly walked out from the 9th Prince's hall. Before the fight for the position started, the forces that didn't manage to obtain a spot would analyze everyone who had a spot and discuss who would be the easiest to replace. Sure, Yulei came from one of the 8 big families, and he was a peerless genius from the previous generation. There were no flaws in him or the power behind him. Olding was originally part of the Imperial Skynet's upper echelon, and he specialized in sensing and tracking. Apparently, he also had a lot of information regarding the Imperial tombs. Olding also had the battle power of a quasi-sacred lord. No one would challenge such an important member of the team. Zhou Su'er was once the sacred emperor's most favored princess, and her fame as a healer had spread long ago. Even the imperial doctors praised her. No one knew too much about her, but since she was an imperial, it was best not to offend her. Shinjizi's fame had spread across the Great Gon Lord dynasty 100 years ago, and very few people specialized in divination. Most forces didn't even have one person that was capable of divination. As for Zhao Feng, he had a pet from the 10,000 ancient races. No one had any hope of victory against him unless they had a mystic light realm pet. Therefore, there were only two options, Jing Kai and Su Qingling. Su Qingling was part of the younger generation, and she was not very famous. The force behind her was Grand Duke Su's palace, which was the weakest of the 10 Grand Duke palaces and the only Grand Duke palace that supported the 9th prince. The representative from Grand Duke Su's palace within the 9th prince's hall stroked his beard and gave a faint smile. He wasn't worried at all. Su Qingling slowly walked out, and a slightly old voice sounded, "As you wish, Wang." A surge of soul intent appeared from Guxiang and turned into dozens of white beams that shot toward Su Qingling. Soul beams. Guxiang circulated his soul intent, and the several dozen white soul beams were connected by a surge of strong soul strength to form a large, condensed soul beam. This attack had a powerful momentum that seemed like it could push Su Qingling's soul out of her body. Su Qingling had a calm expression as a cold soul power radiated from her body. "Shield?" Su Qingling gently said as she twirled her hands and seemed to write something in the air. Soon, her soul power started to spread as a giant soul talisman seal instantly floated in the air and turned into a soul shield. What a weird soul secret technique. A light flashed through Guxiang's eyes. He had heard of the talisman soul seal secret technique before, but he didn't expect to see it today. Boom! The soul beam landed on the soul shield, and the clash shook the souls of the weaker cultivators. The soul beam and soul shield both crumbled after a fierce exchange. Su Qingling's defensive technique had completely blocked Guxiang's attack. "Try to take this move." Soul prison. Guxiang roared as his white hair blew in the wind, and a large amount of white soul power appeared. Wang, white beams appeared above Su Qingling and formed a prison that crushed down with a mountainous soul intent. This was a wide-range soul technique meant to restrain. Su Qingling's soul technique was completely countered. Zhao Feng's expression changed. The power of this elder's soul was strong, but this soul prison used up way too much energy and didn't have as strong of an effect compared to Zhao Feng's soul chains. On the other hand, Su Qingling's soul secret technique was extremely profound. Zhao Feng could only find one name for it in his memory: Talisman Soul Seal Secret Technique. Ice Seal. The expression of the girl in black didn't change. She raised her head and drew a giant soul talisman seal with each hand. Wang. The two soul talisman seals released a wave of soul power that crashed into the soul prison. Part of Guxiang's soul prison was instantly sealed by soul intent, and its power decreased. At the same time, a cold soul power swept over and created a layer of ice on the soul prison. After being sealed in ice, the soul prison posed no threat at all. At this moment, Su Qingling walked a few steps forward and exited the range of the soul prison. Sword. Su Qingling's eyes were cold as she raised her arm, and a weird soul power fluttered. "I admit defeat." Guxiang sighed helplessly. The soul prison had already used up the majority of his soul intent. Furthermore, Su Qingling's soul secret technique was extremely weird, and his own technique was nowhere near the forgotten talisman soul seal secret technique. The fight came to an end, and many experts that were planning on competing for this position instantly retreated. Many people didn't even see through Su Qingling's soul techniques, and the people around the arena finally inspected this female for real. Zhao Feng had to admit that her mastery of the soul wasn't bad, but her soul intent wasn't very strong, or else she would have been able to release much more battle power. While her secret technique was strong, it required natural talent and wasn't suitable for those with soul-based eye bloodlines. While the 9th prince doesn't have many members, all of them are elites. Duke Nanfeng gave a faint smile as his eyes became slightly more confident. The 9th prince's eyes also lit up. The battle power Su Qingling displayed was good. On the side, The representative from Grand Duke Su's palace gave an admiring smile toward Su Qingling. Su Qingling had inherited this mysterious technique in the divine illusion dimension and had only comprehended part of it so far. After Jing Kai and Su Qingling both showed their battle power, no one challenged the Ninth Prince's members. Su Qingling's unique soul techniques even made the other members in the arena feel solemn. Although there weren't many forces that supported the Ninth Prince, the members of his group were relatively outstanding. After the fight ended, Zhao Feng started to pay more attention to the other arenas. The battles in the arenas of the lowly-ranked princes were extremely fierce because these princes had no intention to actually become the crown prince, which meant they didn't pose any threat to the other princes. Their groups were designed more for individual benefits. Zhao Feng paid most of his attention to the princes ranked in the top 4, the 4th prince, the 13th prince, the 7th prince, and the 8th prince. With a thought, Zhao Feng looked toward the arena of the 13th prince. Tang Zhe from the ground demon cult would like to fight with the main battle power person. An elder with a deadly gaze and purple and black robes looked at a figure in black robes. The ground demon cult was a 3-star superpower that supported the 13th prince, and the black-robed main battle power person was someone that the 13th prince personally hired to take up one of the main fighting positions. However, the other members didn't even know what his name was. They only knew that he was a quasi-sacred lord. Therefore, many forces that supported the 13th prince were eyeing this spot. The black-robed figure slowly stood up, and an aura of death spread. "Come!" A raspy voice sounded in the soul dimension, an expert that is biased toward the soul. Tang Zhe was surprised. Although he didn't specialize in the soul, it wasn't his weakness either. However, if the opponent specialized in the soul, that meant that their physical skills were weak. Tang Zhe revealed a deadly smile and opened his little world. The little world of a quasi-sacred lord was the limit of what a true world could withstand. A dark and cold little world appeared behind Tang Zhe and filled the entire arena. Invisible laws and intents started to restrict the black-robed figure. Die! Tang Zhe's battle power doubled when he was in his own little world, and he charged over like a demonic sovereign. Humph! The black-robed figure snickered coldly, and a long thin arm covered in bandages appeared the instant Tang Zhe charged over. At the same moment, a surge of death-based soul power appeared. The black-robed figure's power swept over Tang Zhe's body, and a strong surge of death laws appeared and attracted everyone's attention. Tang Zhe froze as the true yuan, life force, and soul within his body were sucked away by a whirlpool of death. The terrifying aura of death covered Tang Zhe and all his pores. "Arg! Don't!" Tang Zhe screamed as the little world of darkness on the arena slowly faded away. The black-robed figure took back his arm. His robes shifted, and a dried corpse fell. Sii. Everyone within the 13th Prince's Hall felt their hearts go cold, and those that were preparing to take his spot felt cold sweat appear on their backs. They had just passed by death itself. Who was this black-robed person? What kind of technique was that? It was extremely mysterious and powerful. With just a wave of his arm, he killed an expert of the ground demon cult, and in such a gruesome manner too. He didn't go easy on him at all. The experts of the other forces from the other arenas who were watching were stunned as well. They felt their souls tremble just from looking at the black-robed person. They were all quasi-sacred lords too, but this black-robed person was extremely strong. Xian Wuheng, Shenyuan 1, and company on the 4th Prince's arena all had solemn expressions when they looked at the figure in black robes. Those with the ugliest expressions were the members that specialized in soul battles because they were the ones that would be in charge of facing soul attacks when they entered the imperial tombs. Because they specialized in the soul, they knew just how terrifying that figure in black was. "What a strong surge of death soul intent," Su Qingling said with surprise. "The intent of death." Zhao Feng circulated his left eye, but he wasn't able to see through the black robes because there was a mysterious power that stopped him. The soul intent of this figure in black wasn't weaker than his own, and the intent of death made Zhao Feng remember the Emperor of Death. But this figure in black was even stronger and more terrifying. As I expected, the people behind the top-ranked princes are not simple. An elder from the ground demon cult instantly stood up and released his sacred lord aura as he looked at the figure in black with anger. You're not leaving any room for survival, are you? If you don't give the ground demon cult a good explanation after the battle to become crown prince ends. Humph. Although the black-robed person was strong, he was one person, while the ground demon cult was a 3-star superpower. They weren't able to take this lying down. The black-robed figure didn't reply. He simply sat back down, and the two members next to him hiccuped. The appearance of the figure in black robes caused the fierce fights over the positions to quiet down. He killed a quasi-sacred lord from the ground demon cult with cruel and terrifying power. This terrified the members behind the princes that had no intention of becoming the crown prince. They weren't very strong, and if they met the black-robed person in the imperial tombs, they would definitely die. Some geniuses who were planning to challenge him instantly stopped their footsteps. The rate of death amongst the trial to become crown prince was quite low. If the forces behind the opposition didn't have any life or death enmity, they usually wouldn't kill the loser since they wanted to avoid unnecessary conflict. This meant that the danger of entering the trial was rather low. But this black-robed person didn't seem to care about any of that. He didn't even put the 3-star ground demon hall in his eyes and just killed Tang Zhe right on stage. The strength of this black-robed person made even some sacred lords wary. This person would single-handedly increase the rate of death within the trial to become crown prince. A powerful male behind the 13th prince recovered from his shock and immediately sent the 13th prince a message. Chenner, did you recruit this member? Uncle, he's not bad, right? The 13th prince had a smug expression. He was extremely satisfied with this core battle member. He's very strong, but you need to watch out. The expression of the powerful male kept on changing. This black-robed male was extremely mysterious and strong. He wasn't even scared of the 3-star ground demon hall, so why would he help Zhou Chen? The 13th prince didn't take his uncle's words to heart. He looked coldly toward Zhao Feng. The trial to become crown prince is where you will die. As the sparring on the other arenas continued, everyone's attention started to move away from the black-robed person. After all, some of the people present were also peerless geniuses that had been famous for hundreds of years, and each one of them had strong battle power. On the other hand, the arena of the 9th prince was quiet, and no one came to challenge any of them. All the members were silent as well. Su Qingling's talent in the Soul Dao made the 9th prince's team happy, but the black-robed person made them depressed. The death soul intent that the black-robed person displayed completely surpassed Su Qingling's soul intent, and even Jing Kai felt that only death would await him if he fought the black-robed person. Don't be tricked by what you see. If that person's soul intent is so strong, it means that his physical body is his weakness. As long as we maintain a distance and use long-range attacks, we can win. Olding had a grim expression as he slowly spoke, and his words calmed everyone's fear. Just like what Olding said, that was the best way to deal with soul-based experts. While they were using their soul techniques, they could be easily assassinated. For example, when Zhao Feng used his soul chains or his gaze of the god eye, he was basically unable to move or do anything else without messing up his technique. When the black-robed person killed Tang Zhe with his soul intent, if someone had ambushed him from the side, he probably would have been heavily injured, and they would have been able to save Tang Zhe. Therefore, the trial to become crown prince required good teamwork. Zhao Feng suddenly revealed a smile as he turned toward the arena of the 8th prince. Chao Ling from the Chao family would like to challenge Yu Tianhao of the Yu family. A middle-aged male with a muscular figure looked at a handsome youth with closed eyes. Yu Tianhao's going to fight now. The Chao family only has one spot amongst the 8th prince's group, while the Yu family has 2. There was obviously going to be a fight amongst them. Yu Tianhao has the unparalleled heaven-battling bloodline, so it's reasonable for the Yu family to have 2 spots. The unparalleled heaven-battling bloodline. Discussion broke out. Everyone had only heard of Yu Tianhao's unparalleled heaven-battling bloodline and never actually seen it before. Therefore, in everyone's eyes, it would be easier to replace Yu Tianhao in comparison to the others since he was so young. However, due to the power of the Yu family, which was one of the 8 big families, not just anyone dared to take it from him. While the Chao family was weaker than it was in its prime, it was still one of the 8 big families, so they had the right to compete. Yu Tianhao suddenly stood up, and a surge of battle intent appeared in his eyes. Everyone around the arena felt a shocking battle intent rise into the sky. The will to battle within their bodies seemed to awaken as well. Chao Long gave a satisfied smile. It looked like Yu Tianhao wasn't someone without strength who only depended on the Yu family. Dang! Chao Ling suddenly leapt into the air and turned into a black shadow that charged over with the momentum of a storm. Unparalleled under the heavens. A powerful intent radiated from Yu Tianhao's body as he took action. A blazing light shot out from Yu Tianhao's palm. Rising wind punch. In the next instant, Chao Ling's black fist clashed with it. Boom! They both took a few steps back before steadying themselves. Whoosh! Chao Ling's figure turned into a streak of dark light once more, appeared above Yu Tianhao, and kicked downward. Mountain-crushing kick. Powerful intent with the pressure of heaven and earth appeared on the leg. It seemed to become Mount Tai as it crushed downward, and everyone else watching found it hard to breathe. They had to circulate their true yuan to protect themselves. Unparalleled. A supreme intent surged from Yu Tianhao's body. Boom! A mysterious giant palm surrounded by orange light pushed upward and engulfed everything that it passed. Boom! Boom! Chao Ling's thunderous attack was instantly destroyed, but there was no sign of Chao Ling, sky-cracking palm. Chao Ling was like an arc of lightning as he appeared on Yu Tianhao's left side, and a surge of sharp air shot out and blew away the dust nearby. As expected of the Chao family, he moves like lightning, and his attacks are as strong as mountains. I heard that the minimum requirement to become a core disciple of the Chao family is train 10 middle-tier Earth-grade battle techniques to their peak. The Chao family is apparently full of close combat masters, and they have some body-strengthening techniques. Everyone praised Chao Ling's powerful intent and thunderous attacks. Golden blazing point. Chaos sky opening palm. Chao Ling had countless close combat techniques, as expected of one of the 8 big families. Looks like I will have to use my true strength. Yu Tianhao's eyes glittered as a certain bloodline seemed to burn and ignite within his body. Wu, an ancient and mysterious figure in the shape of a human appeared and moved in sync with Yu Tianhao's body. The dim orange light around Yu Tianhao's body released a brilliant glow of light, and a mental energy battle intent shot into the air. Yu Tianhao's every action was in sync with the cold figure behind him. His every movement contained battle intent that was enough to scare gods and ghosts alike, and it destroyed all the powers around him. Chao Ling felt as if a deity was looking down on him, and all his powers were suppressed. Some of the kings and emperors present felt like they had been struck by lightning. They had to circulate their true yuan in order to resist the pressure. On the arena, a surge of battle intent clashed with the barrier, and a sacred lord from the Yu family instantly released the same power to form another barrier and protect everyone. At the same time, he had a faint smile as he looked at the cold figure behind Yu Tianhao's back. Oh my god! It really is the unparalleled heaven-battling bloodline. Apparently, this bloodline can be ranked within the top 10 Imperial Dao bloodlines. What battle intent! I probably wouldn't even be able to stand in front of him. The hearts of countless experts in the sky shook. They could feel a strong surge of battle intent even from 1,000 miles away. The expressions of Tai Hongnan and the others from the Tai family within the 4th Prince's Hall had grim expressions. The Tai family and the Yu family both guarded the northwestern borders, and the 2 families had a lot of conflicts with each other. The heaven-battling bloodline of the Yu family was slightly weaker than the Blood Devil Sun bloodline, but the rumored unparalleled heaven-battling bloodline was unrivaled and even slightly stronger than the perfect Blood Devil Sun bloodline. However, the Yu family had regained this bloodline once again, while the perfect Blood Devil Sun bloodline of the Tai family was in the body of some outsider who didn't even have the Tai surname. The expressions of the people within the 8th Prince's Hall went faintly red. The Yu family was one of the biggest supporters of the 8th Prince, and Yu Tianhao's unparalleled heaven-battling bloodline was extremely powerful. The 8th Prince looked at the arena with excitement. He had finally managed to persuade the Yu family at the last moment, and the unexpected joining of the Ji family instantly increased his overall strength dramatically. On the arena, Chao Ling didn't show any signs of weakness when facing the Yu Tianhao, who had become much stronger. A surge of heaven and earth power covered him and barely managed to block Yu Tianhao's intent. Divine Force Punch. Chao Ling used this force to close in on Yu Tianhao as he gathered his true yuan and punched out. Unparalleled under the heavens. Yu Tianhao used the skill once more, and with the addition of his unparalleled heaven-battling bloodline, its power increased by several times as the cold figure behind him also thrust a palm out. A beam of orange light shot out and crushed everything in its path before throwing Chao Ling out of the arena. The fight came to an end. The powerful bloodline shook the hearts of the other fighters in each of the arenas. Shi Yulei on the 9th Prince's arena had a solemn expression, while Jing Kai faintly lowered his head. The figure behind Yu Tianhao slowly faded away, and he suddenly started talking in an excited tone in the direction of the 9th Prince's arena. "Let's have another fight." Many gazes instantly turned toward the 9th Prince's arena. Who was it that the owner of the Yu family's unparalleled heaven-battling bloodline would personally ask to fight? Was there someone from the 9th Prince's team with comparable battle power? The members of the 9th Prince's group were surprised and looked at one another. Who was Yu Tianhao talking to? It wasn't a good thing for someone with such battle power to keep an eye on them. Shi Yulei and Jing Kai immediately shook their heads and signaled that they had never seen Yu Tianhao before. Boom! No one had recovered from the exciting fight yet when suddenly, on the 13th Prince's side, a fierce battle erupted between Qi Peng, an old genius from 9 Darkness Palace, and a challenger from a Grand Duke Palace. 2 mechanism masters on the 12th Prince's arena had also started their exchange as well. All the fights for the positions were extremely fierce. Only a small number of people could just sit there and watch everything calmly. The countless forces in the sky and those within the surrounding halls could feel that the fights for the positions were coming to an end. The 10 princes in the hall stood up instinctively and felt a wave pass through their hearts. Jing Kai, who was next to Zhao Feng, suddenly felt his body go numb. He turned toward Zhao Feng, but he didn't find anything out of ordinary. Zhao Feng gave a faint smile and was secretly overjoyed. "I didn't expect the power of the ancient lightning to be able to merge into my God Tribulation lightning soul body. Looks like my soul should be called a lightning soul body then." Zhao Feng's soul originally only contained the power of God Tribulation lightning. He was just giving it a try and didn't expect to succeed. The power of ancient lightning within the black wood was absorbed into his soul, but instead of coexisting with the God Tribulation lightning, it merged directly into his soul. It was as if Zhao Feng's soul could be refined by absorbing the power of ancient lightning. At the same time, the power of God Tribulation lightning also became slightly stronger. Zhao Feng instantly felt his soul become more condensed, similar to the feeling when the ancient aura merged into his soul. Zhao Feng then directed his attention toward the other 10 arenas. He actually managed to merge those 2 opposite powers together. Zhao Feng was slightly surprised as he looked at Luo Zun's battle on the 8th Prince's arena. Luo Zun had completed his little world, and it was extremely unique. The bottom half of his little world was ice while the top half was fire. However, they didn't affect each another. To be able to do such a thing, Luo Zun had already surpassed most older emperors, and from the looks of it, Luo Zun had gained a lot in the divine illusion dimension by relying on the spiritual connection rat. Elsewhere, a scholar on the 7th Prince's arena trapped another array master and won. The battles for the positions are coming to an end. Let me tell you a bit about the trial to become Crown Prince. Old Ying's voice suddenly sounded, and everyone turned toward him. They knew that Old Ying knew the most information about the imperial tombs and the fight to become Crown Prince. Firstly, draconic providence is a key factor in the trials and in how the victor is decided. All of you should know this. Everyone knew that the ruler of the Lord dynasty could gather the providence within their territory and use it to consolidate their status. Of course, those that had been appointed by the Imperials also received some providence, but normal people could only use part of the providence's power, while those with the imperial bloodline could turn it into draconic providence, which was more powerful and had more techniques. When imperial experts are about to die, they will take their draconic providence into another dimension, and after hundreds of millions of years, this dimension will become a dimension filled with draconic providence. Olding had a respectful look in his eyes as he spoke. Everyone apart from Shi Yulei and Shinjizi were surprised. They didn't know that the great Gon Lord dynasty had ruled for such a long time, and they looked forward to this journey to a dimension that was filled with draconic providence. We are supporting the ninth prince. As long as we gather enough draconic providence, the ninth prince can use it to gain almost infinite power. Olding had a solemn expression as he emphasized this point. The 7 of them were here to support the ninth prince. Everyone knew this, but they didn't know just how important this point was. Most people came here to find fortune or inheritances or use the ancient dimension to find their own breakthrough point. At the same time, they knew what Olding meant. As long as there was enough draconic providence, the ninth prince would be able to become stronger. In other words, the Emperor-level ninth prince could reach the level of a sacred lord or even higher with the addition of draconic providence. The other princes could as well. Remember, this is the fight to become crown prince. If the ninth prince becomes the crown prince, the forces behind you will reap limitless benefits. The rise and fall of the 8 big families mainly come from the outcome of the crown prince trial. Olding tried extremely hard to make everyone willing to help the ninth prince. Shi Yulei seemed to remember something from his family and faintly nodded his head. Zhao Feng felt that the trial to become the crown prince was more of a game after knowing some of the rules. One didn't even need to think. All they needed to know was that the winner would be the team with the most draconic providence. Could it be that providence is also related to who can enter the imperial tombs? Zhao Feng suddenly thought of something. There was a certain rule in the fight for the positions. The challenger's cultivation couldn't exceed the person currently holding the position. The ninth prince only had 7 spots, and the cultivation of each member was relatively low. On the other hand, the 13th prince had 12 spots. The others were speechless. This simple information had already spread across the entire outside world, but Zhao Feng didn't even know about it. That's right, entering the dimension requires the power of providence. The higher one's cultivation, the more providence is required. This is the rule set by the Imperials. Olding paused for a moment as well before explaining it to Zhao Feng. The more support a prince received, the more providence they would have. This meant that they would be able to take in more people and people who had higher cultivation. The forces supporting the ninth prince were extremely weak, so he couldn't take many people in. Olding and Shi Yulei were 2 quasi-sacred lords, while the princes ranked in the top 5 almost all had true sacred lords in their group. Negotiation and recruitment are also tests for the princes. Olding sighed helplessly. Although that was the saying, a lot was related to the forces supporting each prince. Since the ninth prince was of low birth and wasn't favored by the sacred emperor, the forces supporting him weren't strong either. There's also a few other things, but I'll tell you all after we enter. Olding only talked about some simple so that Zhao Feng and Zhou Suer would finally know a bit about the trial to become crown prince. The others instantly rolled their eyes at these two. What were they thinking by participating in the crown prince trial when they didn't even know the most basic rules? The fights for the positions have ended, Su Qingling said faintly. At this moment in time, the 10 princes walked out. Because of what Olding just said, everyone felt a heavy mood. Zhao Feng also felt that he was now involved in a clash between the entire Lord dynasty. But if the ninth prince was able to win, it would greatly benefit the Ocean Smoke Pavilion. Only 2 or 3 positions in total had changed among the highly ranked princes groups. The groups with the most changes came from the princes that were ranked extremely lowly. Since they had no intention of actually fighting the others to become the crown prince, they were more nonchalant when choosing their members. The 7th-ranked 9th prince was an exception. Olding knew that the 9th prince had started his preparations a long time ago and tried very hard. He had managed to persevere this whole time. Although the overall strength of his team was quite weak, he had chosen elites from these weaker forces and personally went to other places to persuade people. For example, the 9th prince personally went to invite Zhao Feng 4 years ago. Boom! A surge of invisible draconic providence appeared in the imperial palace and changed the color of the heaven and earth. Everyone felt a surge of limitless power. This power controlled everything, including their lives. Welcome to the trial to become crown prince. Now that the fights for the positions have come to an end, The trial will soon begin. A male in golden dragon robes stood behind the main hall of the imperial palace and spoke. He was surrounded by draconic providence, and his words resonated across heaven and earth with the help of draconic providence. Next to the sacred emperor was a stunning female who wore a crown made from gold and jade. She wore extremely bright robes that had phoenixes drawn over them. Several faint supreme auras appeared within the great hall. Wang! A stone tablet suddenly flew out from the hall. It radiated golden light as it appeared above the martial arts field. The golden light around the stone tablet slowly fell and landed in front of everyone on the arena. When Zhao Feng's hand touched the golden light, it turned into a gray, dim dragon-shaped jade pendant. All the others nearby had the same jade pendant in their hands. The 10 princes each held a jade seal, which gave off a faint white and golden dragon-shaped light that blinked. This is dragon jade, and draconic providence will automatically be stored inside. The princes have a pseudo-crown prince seal, which can evolve into the real crown prince seal. Olding knew that no one in the group knew about it and explained it to them. The dragon jades in our hands are related to the pseudo-crown prince seals to a certain degree. Wang, the stone tablet in the air started to spin, and immeasurable draconic providence of the imperial capital started to gather toward it. Many mysterious drawings on the stone tablet started to light up, and it started to radiate an ancient and desolate aura. The trial has begun. A voice sounded from the great hall. It managed to resound throughout the imperial palace even without the help of draconic providence. Who? A dark silver light shot out from the center of the stone tablet, and a terrifying spatial undulation was unleashed. More draconic providence was sucked in, and this dark silver light formed a chaotic screen. Go! The 4th prince and his team members charged forward. Shenyuan 1 and a sacred lord from Sky Suspension Palace were the fastest as they entered it with a flash. Mother, I will become the crown prince. The 13th prince looked at the female in front of the great hall before rushing toward the spatial screen. Go! The 9th prince also rushed toward the twisting screen, and the other princes followed as well. The members on the arenas all leapt into the screen. Elder Hongnan, I will defeat that so-called perfect blood devil son bloodline. The red-haired male from the Tai family turned into a ball of fire and blasted past everyone else to enter the screen. Zhao Feng also followed the group and headed toward the screen, but suddenly, an aura of death appeared next to Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng's expression changed slightly. He hadn't used a secret technique to go in as fast as possible. He just went along with everyone else. Zhao Feng didn't expect someone to cut in line and head toward him like he was trying to go in before Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng hated this aura very much because it reminded him of the Emperor of Death. However, while others might be scared of the black-robed person, Zhao Feng wasn't. Zhao Feng circulated his sacred lightning body and punched toward the side. If the black-robed person wanted to cut in line, then they would have to take this punch from Zhao Feng. Being an expert that specialized in the soul, the black-robed person's physical defense shouldn't have been too strong, so he would most likely retreat. The black-robed person seemed to be blind as he just continued to move forward. This person. Zhao Feng's expression became grim, while the black-robed person gave off the feeling that he wanted to cut in line. There was a faint soul disturbance containing the intent of death coming from him. The black-robed person seemed to be blind as he just continued to move forward. This person. Zhao Feng's expression became grim, while the black-robed person gave off the feeling that he wanted to cut in line. There was a faint soul disturbance containing the intent of death coming from him. Boom! Zhao Feng's punch landed on the black-robed person's left arm, but at the same time, the soul attack from this black-robed person also attacked Zhao Feng's soul. God Tribulation lightning flashed in Zhao Feng's dark purple soul and instantly destroyed the intent of death that attacked his soul. At the same time, Zhao Feng's punch shattered the black-robed person's elbow and ripped apart the black robes, revealing a skinny and withered arm. The arm was covered in bandages and had countless profound black talisman markings drawn all over it. Zhao Feng withstood the soul attack of the black-robed person, while the black-robed person didn't defend himself against Zhao Feng's physical attack at all. Humph! Zhao Feng harumphed coldly as he entered the screen. Crippling one arm was just to teach this black-robed person a lesson. However, what happened next made the eyes of everyone who hadn't entered yet go wide. The black-robed person's arm started to recover and move just like before. The black robe that was ripped off also recovered and hid his arm. Zhao Feng only saw a slight part of this since he already entered the screen. What kind of wicked technique is that? His recovery speed is even stronger than Mystic Light Realm's Sacred Lords. Idiot, that isn't even recovery. Have you seen clothes recover after being ripped up? That Death Soul attack from the black-robed person didn't even harm Zhao Feng. At this moment, the people that hadn't entered the Imperial tombs yet were completely stunned. The mysteriousness and the strength displayed by the black-robed person made everyone retreat and refuse to go near him. Zhao Feng wasn't to be underestimated either. He took the black-robed person's soul attack head-on without flinching. One had to know that the quasi-sacred Lord Tangze had been killed without any resistance by the black-robed person's soul attack. Zhou Suer was also amongst this group. Since she was a doctor, she wasn't in a rush. She was the last member of the 9th Prince's team, and she saw this scene. Big Brother Black Robes, please go in first. Senior Black Robes, please enter. The experts that were about to enter the screen instantly retreated and started to smile, but their backs were drenched in cold sweat. Zhao Feng, a raspy voice that made one's hair stand on end, came from the black-robed person before he entered the screen. The various forces also witnessed the scene of Zhao Feng clashing with the black-robed person. They felt stunned and incredulous. Only some of the stronger families and forces seemed to guess something. An elder from Ground Demon Hall suddenly remembered something, and his expression went grim before he gave a deep sigh. Shua! Zhao Feng appeared in an ancient forest and felt his body and soul become heavy as a surge of ancient pressure appeared. This was an aura that had been through the ancient and immemorial eras. Zhao Feng had the feeling that he had entered the ancient dream realm. Because of the ancient dream realm aura inside him, most of the pressure on Zhao Feng's body suddenly disappeared, as if Zhao Feng had gained the recognition of this place. The pressure here was far weaker compared to the ancient dream realm, and it only affected Zhao Feng a little bit. The 9th Prince and the other team members were also here. What a strong spatial pressure! Zhou Suer followed Zhao Feng's footsteps, and her face went slightly red when she arrived. She felt that it was hard to breathe or even take a step. Get used to it. The Dragon Jade will absorb the faint draconic providence in the air, and you can use it to lower the pressure that the dimension imposes on you. Olding immediately explained, and he paused for a moment when he looked at Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng didn't seem to feel uncomfortable at all, and he even seemed to be extremely compatible with this dimension. What was going on? Even if he cultivated a body-strengthening technique and had stronger resistance toward the pressure here was very powerful and could repel all foreign objects. Those with lower cultivations would be unable to move at all. They could only lie on the ground. The others also felt that Zhao Feng's situation was different from theirs. Even Shi Yulei, who was a body cultivator, felt that the air was heavy. Everyone's here. Our Dragon Jades are connected to the 9th Prince's pseudo-seal, so we were able to arrive at the same place even though we came in at different times. Olding spoke quickly. It was obvious that time was of great importance. The Dragon Jades and the pseudo-Crown Prince seal will automatically absorb the faint draconic providence in the air, but because of that, our efficiency will be rather low if we stay together. Olding picked up his Dragon Jade. It was dim and had no light. It was obvious that all the draconic providence nearby had been completely absorbed. The originally bright pseudo-Crown Prince seal in the 9th Prince's hand was now only giving a faint glow. This was because they just used the providence within the pseudo-seal to enter the Imperial tombs. Which means we have to split up, Olding said in a solemn tone. Everyone also guessed that this would happen because they could feel how important draconic providence was. Without draconic providence, they would be restrained by the pressure of the ancient dimension, which would reduce their battle power. Under the strong pressure of the ancient dimension, they couldn't even fly. Only sacred lords would be able to barely fly. However, if one had enough draconic providence, they could use it to resist the pressure of the ancient dimension and momentarily fly in the air. We have 8 people, so splitting into 3 groups would be best. Zhao Feng, Shinjizi, and I will all lead 1 or 2 people. Who do you all want to go with? Olding scanned over the group and suggested. Su Qingling, Jing Kai, and Shi Yulei all paused for a moment. They had no disagreements with Olding and Shinjizi leading a group since they were both experienced elders. Olding specialized in tracking and sensing, so he could avoid danger, while Shinjizi knew divination and could guess where danger and misfortune were. But why was Zhao Feng a leader as well? Was it because he was a beast tamer and needed protection? I'll go with Olding. Jing Kai immediately went to Old Ying's side. After witnessing the fights for the positions, Jing Kai felt that his strength was only average amongst the members specializing in battle. Olding was a quasi-sacred lord, and he was very experienced. Following him would mean he would be safe, and he would also be able to learn some things. The others looked at the 9th prince, who was standing next to Olding. This meant that Old Ying's team already had 3 people total. I'll go with Shinjizi, Shi Yulei and Su Qingling said at the same time and immediately walked over to Shinjizi. I don't need a doctor, Zhao Feng immediately said. Zhou Suer was the only one remaining, but she was completely useless to Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng's body was extremely sturdy, and he had the water and wood of wind lightning to heal himself and recover his true yuan. He also had the green water sky lotuses and 100 origin fruit juice. A healer was the last thing he needed. Any other member of the team would be more useful than Zhou Suer. You! Zhou Suer's face went red with embarrassment. She had witnessed the exchange between Zhao Feng and the black-robed person a moment ago, so she was confident in Zhao Feng's strength and thought that it would be fine to be his partner. She didn't expect Zhao Feng to suddenly reject her. All of you can go. I will be going with Zhao Feng today, Zhou Suer's voice sounded. Just because Zhao Feng didn't want a healer, did that mean he wouldn't get one? If she just followed what Zhao Feng said, wouldn't that be an even greater loss of face than being rejected? Zhou Suer didn't want Zhao Feng to do as he pleased, so she immediately walked up to him, as if saying that she was definitely going to go with him. The other members looked at Zhao Feng and Zhou Suer and felt somewhat embarrassed. Although they had a bad impression of Zhao Feng and didn't really like him, it wasn't really suitable for the beast tamer and the doctor, who both had low battle power, to go together. The beasts within the imperial tombs had all bathed in ancient auras and draconic providence, making them extremely fierce and deadly. Olding spoke just as they were pondering what to do. If that's the case, then let's take action. This is part of the map for the imperial tombs, as well as some information regarding the trial. Olding gave everyone a booklet containing information. And let's go. Shinjizi also gave a faint smile as he took the booklet and got ready to move. Shi Yulei, Su Qingling, and Jing Kai all faltered for a moment. Olding and Shinjizi, who were both rather experienced, seemed to approve of this unbalanced duo. What was going on? Were Olding and Shinjizi not worried that a team comprised of a beast tamer and a doctor would die here? However, since the two of them had no disagreements about it, they had nothing to say either, so they took the booklets and started to remember the information. Olding and Shinjizi led their groups and left. Before the 9th prince left, he looked at Zhao Feng. Brother Zhao, with your display in the divine illusion dimension, the imperial tombs won't be too difficult for you. You will definitely be able to protect elder sister Suer. Zhao Feng rolled his eyes and started to think. Olding and Shinjizi had most likely discussed this already and purposely gave the doctor to him. Zhao Feng looked over the information and instantly understood. Doctors were basically useless in the early stages and would only come into play later. There was a lot of information within the booklet, including which areas had dangerous beasts and which places had inheritances that no one had managed to obtain yet. However, Zhao Feng first needed to confirm his location. Tang! Zhao Feng leapt into the air and landed on the peak of a nearby tree. After jumping into the air, Zhao Feng then rose another couple meters and gazed down with his god's spiritual eye to see everything within a couple dozen thousand miles. Zhao Feng even saw some other figures about 10,000 miles away. Zhou Suer was dazed as she looked at Zhao Feng, who was floating in midair. You can fly here? Zhou Suer asked in shock. Her dragon jade hadn't absorbed any draconic providence at all yet, and she couldn't resist the pressure of this dimension. She found it hard to even walk. But Zhao Feng seemed like he was still in their original dimension. He could easily jump around and float in the air. How did Zhao Feng do such a thing without any draconic providence? Zhao Feng didn't reply to Zhou Su'er. He simply waved his left hand, and a giant Yao bird appeared and flew into the distance. This Yao bird was the one that usually protected the ancient Dream Realm fruits, and it was now a late-stage king. Since it was a being from the ancient Dream Realm, it was completely unaffected by the laws of heaven and earth in the imperial tombs, and it could actually fly even faster here. The ancient and desolate aura coming from its body scared away all the nearby beasts flying in the air. After confirming his location and inspecting all possible dangers nearby, Zhao Feng descended to the ground. We are at the edge of the imperial tombs, which isn't very dangerous. The inheritance of Sacred Lord Dark Sky is the closest inheritance to us. Zhao Feng used the information to match with his map. The inheritances near the edges were usually rank lowly, but they weren't concerned only with inheritances. They also wanted draconic providence. Inheritances contained the remnant draconic providence of an imperial sacred lord, and if one managed to conquer the inheritance, not only would they receive the actual inheritance itself, they would also receive its draconic providence. On an individual level, Zhao Feng placed greater importance on the resources and funerary items. Let's go to Sacred Lord Dark Sky's inheritance first. Zhao Feng started to move forward quickly, while Zhou Su'er was still searching for the Dark Sky inheritance on the map. Hey, wait for me! Zhou Su'er was starting to slightly regret her decision. Zhao Feng was able to move without any problem, but she felt like she was moving against a strong headwind. The ancient aura around her kept hitting her, and she couldn't catch up to Zhao Feng's footsteps. Hearing her, Zhao Feng turned around. As an imperial princess, Zhou Su'er definitely hadn't undergone much hardship, and she was extremely weak. Adding on the fact that she was a doctor, her body was weaker than most normal emperors. Zhao Feng waved his left hand and summoned the giant python. Zhao Feng had prepared for this. He put the two beings from the ancient dream realm into the misty spatial world. Sit, Zhao Feng said. Zhou Su'er's expression changed. While this python was only a late-stage king, the fierce and deadly aura it radiated made her heart jump. However, even though the snake was fierce, Zhou Su'er had to sit on it. The instant she sat on the python, Zhou Su'er felt the dimension's pressure decrease, and she thought that this was extremely weird. The green-spotted snake was extremely fast, and Zhou Su'er's journey was extremely easy. From the looks of it, it wasn't bad being partnered with a beast tamer. Zhao Feng, do you have any other steeds? I'll trade with you. Zhou Su'er was insatiable. The snake was even faster than Zhao Feng. They soon entered a broad forest, and Zhao Feng found that there was a lot of fruit on the trees. Zhao Feng picked a couple and inspected them with his left eye, but their effects were nowhere near the fruits of the ancient dream realm. They only had about 1/100th of the effects. Come, eat a couple. Zhao Feng threw the fruits to Zhou Su'er. Although they weren't very effective and didn't contain a lot of ancient aura, they should still be able to help Zhou Su'er increase her resistance against the pressure. At this point, Zhou Su'er's dragon jade was a bit brighter, most likely from absorbing the draconic providence in the air when they were traveling. Zhao Feng, isn't our route a bit off? Zhou Su'er asked. That's right, we are a bit off. Zhao Feng didn't disagree. Why? Zhou Su'er was puzzled. Why would they want to go off track? Because we're going to rob someone. Zhao Feng revealed an evil smile. 3 figures suddenly jumped out from the side and saw Zhao Feng and Zhou Su'er. Zhao Feng had a faint smile while Zhou Su'er paused for a moment. The 3 were all extremely wary, but they let out a breath after seeing that it was Zhao Feng and Zhou Su'er. It's just members of the 9th Prince's team. The expression of a middle-aged male wearing a yellow coat softened. They were from the 6th Prince's group, who was ranked 8th, which wasn't much different from the 9th Prince's rank. They were only scared of the teams from the princes ranked in the top 5. Isn't this Grandmaster Beast Tamer Zhao Feng and the Doctor? Why would the 9th Prince put the 2 of you together? A genius of the younger generation walked in front of Zhao Feng and Zhou Su'er with a smug expression, and greed flashed in his eyes. The sixth prince had no intention to fight for crown prince, so all his members specialized in combat. They had entered the imperial tombs to find personal fortune, and they were all experts with strong battle power. The male wearing the yellow coat knew what his companion was getting at. Hand over your treasures, resources, and the draconic providence in your dragon jades, and I'll let you leave, the male wearing the yellow coat roared. The third member was an elder in black, and he immediately messaged the other two. This Xiaofeng isn't to be underestimated, and Zhou Su'er is an imperial princess. Let's just go directly to the dark sky inheritance. The elder in black had entered the imperial tombs a bit later, so he had witnessed the exchange between Xiaofeng and the black-robed person and was slightly scared of Xiaofeng. However, the middle-aged male wearing the yellow coat and the junior both snickered. No matter how strong Xiaofeng was, he was just a beast tamer. As for Zhou Su'er, she was a doctor, so her battle power could be completely ignored. Furthermore, they were just taking a few items from them, so why would they need to be scared of Zhou Su'er's identity? Zhou Su'er looked at Xiaofeng in a blaming way. He knew that there was danger here but came this way anyway. These three were all emperors, and they had the battle power of unrivaled emperors at the least. You want to rob 3 emperors by yourself? However, thinking about the fact that Xiaofeng might take out his spiritual pets to fight, Zhou Su'er felt a bit more confident. Hee, you've got it backwards. I'm the one robbing you. Hand over all of your resources, including the dragon jades. Xiaofeng laughed coldly. Hearing what Xiaofeng said, the young genius and the male wearing the yellow coat paused for a moment before roaring with laughter. Ha 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 ha! A beast tamer dared to say such a thing? Rob the 3 of them? They had heard that Xiaofeng had an extremely strong pet, but as long as they avoided it and just defeated the owner, what kind of threat could his spiritual pets pose? The expression of the elder in black became urgent. If you're not willing to hand over your treasures, then I'll just have to make you waste the only chance of protection from your dragon jade. The young genius harumphed coldly and felt dissatisfied. Each dragon jade contained a hidden array that could help its holder escape danger once. After using it, they would be able to teleport to their prince's side. This meant that, if Xiaofeng used the hidden array in the dragon jade, Xiaofeng would appear right next to the 9th prince. This was one of the main reasons for the low death rate in the imperial tombs. Even if someone was in danger, they could use this to return to their prince's side, but only once. Go! The eyes of the yellow-clad male went cold as a long golden blade appeared in his hand. If they weren't willing to hand over their items, then he would just force them to use the protective array in their dragon jades. The young genius also started to circulate his true yuan. The elder in black felt helpless and had to take action as well. He hoped that the 3 of them would be able to defeat Xiaofeng. The 3 emperors released all their power, but their magnificent power only covered a couple hundred meters, and the undulation of their true yuan was extremely weak. Everyone's power was restricted by the pressure of the imperial tombs, so they could only use 1/20th of their full battle power in the early stages. Illusion Maze Domain. Xiaofeng punched out, and the 3 emperors' minds blanked as they lost their consciousness and appeared in an ancient city. They had lost complete control over their bodies. At the same time, Xiaofeng's powerful physical attack made them cough out blood. Soul chains. A surge of intent brewed in Xiaofeng's left eye, and transparent crystal-like chains of dark purple lightning passed through their souls and bound the 3 emperors. The 3 emperors' souls were unable to move after being bound by the soul chains. Don't! The elder in black could still fight back a little bit, and he prepared to use a secret technique. God Tribulation lightning glittered on the dark purple chains of lightning and made the 3 emperors cry out before losing consciousness. Plop! The 3 fell to the ground. Xiaofeng's soul intent had reached the level of a sacred lord, so he could threaten even sacred lords when he used his soul secret techniques. Adding on the fact that the 3 emperors couldn't even use most of their power because of the dimension's pressure, they were unable to do anything against Xiaofeng at all. Zhou Su'er sat on the back of the giant python with a dazed look. She originally thought that Xiaofeng would summon a spiritual pet, but he just used 1 punch and 1 glance to defeat 3 emperors. No wonder Old Ing and the 9th prince let Xiaofeng be a leader. He wasn't just a grandmaster beast tamer. His personal strength was also incredible. Adding on the exchange between Zhao Feng and the black-robed person, Zhou Suer believed more in Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng's battle power was at least comparable to the black-robed person, who insta-killed a quasi-sacred lord. Zhao Feng didn't kill the 3 emperors, he only made them faint. He then went to scavenge their items. These 3 all came from strong forces, so they obviously had many treasures. Why do you want their dragon jades? Zhou Suer couldn't help but become curious when she saw Zhao Feng taking away their dragon jades. The dragon jade contained a hidden array that would teleport the owner to their prince. This meant that, if Zhao Feng was planning to use the array in these dragon jades, he would arrive next to the 6th prince. 1 dragon jade might not be enough to store draconic providence, Zhao Feng replied. There was a limit to how much draconic providence each dragon jade could store. But not many people had ever reached this limit over the years because one had to use the draconic providence to resist the pressure of this dimension. And fights also required a large amount of draconic providence in order to increase the user's battle power. We can also just rob the 6th prince if we have to, Zhao Feng thought for a moment before saying. While Zhao Feng sounded arrogant, what he said was technically logical. However, Zhou Suer almost fell off the green-spotted python when she heard that. You want to rob a prince? Zhou Suer asked in disbelief. One had to know that the princes were guarded by the strongest experts, and the princes themselves could use draconic providence to increase their own strength quite a bit. Not right now. In comparison to draconic providence, Zhao Feng wanted resources. The inheritances of a sacred lord would obviously have a lot of wealth, not to mention that the sacred lords buried here were all Imperials. The duo soon left after taking everything. The 3 emperors struggled and managed to stand up after a while. What's going on? Why is he so strong? The young genius was stunned. He defeated us with just 1 punch and 1 soul technique? The male in yellow couldn't believe it. Did you not realize that Zhao Feng's soul attack was extremely strong and almost completely unaffected by the restrictions of the imperial tombs? The elder in black took in a deep breath. The other 2 were instantly dazed. How was that possible? However, when they thought about it, they realized that those words were true. Zhao Feng's soul intent hadn't been suppressed by the imperial tombs at all, and it utterly crushed them. Zhao Feng, does this ancient dimension not suppress you in any way? Zhou Suer was already extremely suspicious, and after this battle, she became more certain. She had felt Zhao Feng's soul intent back in the St. Herb Pavilion, and she felt that it was almost the exact same just now. It does suppress me to a certain degree, Zhao Feng replied. No matter what, the Imperial Tombs dimension was still a powerful dimension left behind from ancient times. Even though Zhao Feng had fused with some ancient aura, it's not like he lived in the ancient dream realm. He just had an acquired resistance to it. Zhao Feng was able to use about half of his overall battle power in the Imperial Tombs. On the other hand, the people that had just arrived could only use 1/20th of their full battle power. Everyone needed some time to get used to this place before they were able to use more of their battle power. The higher one's cultivation, the faster they adapted. Therefore, for a period of time, Zhao Feng would basically be invincible in the Imperial Tombs. We've arrived at the Dark Sky Inheritance. Zhao Feng and Zhou Suer stopped. There was an underground entrance not far from them, and it had signs of people entering a very long time ago. The draconic providence in the air was a lot thicker, and the suction force of the dragon jade toward the draconic providence became stronger. Dark Sky Inheritance. This inheritance had been found a long time ago, and while it was just a low-ranked inheritance, no one had ever managed to conquer it. Zhao Feng and Zhou Suer walked directly in, and the latter could now walk on the ground properly. The fruits and the ancient aura radiating from the green-spotted snake allowed Zhou Suer to quickly adapt to the pressure to a certain degree. The instant the duo walked underground, Zhao Feng knew that everything around them was a dimension in between reality and illusion. They had entered the little world of the Sacred Lord before they died. Everything in front of them occasionally became bright, then dimmed at other times. Zhao Feng and Zhou Suer had arrived in a gray dimension. There were 4 large statues in the dimension, and all of them suddenly opened their eyes as a surge of Emperor-level aura spread. I need to face for Emperors right from the beginning, and the ground seems to have a profound array drawn on it. Zhao Feng's left eye scanned over the place. These 4 emperors would indeed be slightly troublesome for the experts that had just arrived who could only use 1/20th of their strength. No wonder there were more unconquered inheritances near the edges of the imperial tombs. Not only were the inheritances in the center more highly ranked, and thus scarcer, but the participants would only start to move toward the center when they had adapted to the dimension and could actually use their battle power. Zhao Feng, this inheritance is slightly difficult. Are you confident that you can pass it? Zhou Suer was a bit puzzled. She didn't really know Zhao Feng's true strength. Pass it? I'm not very confident, Zhao Feng said honestly, and Zhou Suer nodded her head. It was indeed slightly difficult for one person, but if she helped, they might be able to succeed. However, what Zhao Feng said next made her dazed once more. But I do have the confidence to destroy it. Excitement shone in Zhao Feng's eyes. Boom! 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 The 4 statues thundered over and caused the ground to shake. Whoosh! Zhao Feng flew into the air. It's time to test my little world. Zhao Feng smiled as he circulated his intent, and a terrifying surge of power filled the air, causing it to become chaotic. Boom! A dark dimension formed from destructive wind and lightning appeared in the air. One had to know that the little world of a sacred lord wasn't a true dimension. So if another little world appeared in it, it would become a battle for territory between the 2 sides. Boom! Boom! The air started to crackle as the ground shattered. Zhao Feng's little world was created in the ancient dream realm, so to a certain degree, it could be said that it was made from the ancient dream realm. In other words, it was almost completely unaffected by the imperial tombs. Wang, Zhao Feng circulated his sacred lightning body and poured the true yuan of wind lightning within his crystal core dimension into the little world. The 2 little worlds started to clash with each another. Sacred lightning dominating punch. Zhao Feng flew into the air and sent a couple golden fists toward the inheritance's little world. Crack! With the combined forces of Zhao Feng's fist and little world, a giant crack appeared in the air and started to extend. Boom! 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 The gray little world instantly shattered, and the powerful sacred power created a storm as it swept over the underground. However, Zhao Feng's little world immediately merged with the air and took control of the laws and intents, blocking all of the damage outside his little world. The power isn't too bad. Zhao Feng was extremely satisfied. The little world of Sacred Lord Dark Sky had been here for too long, so its foundation was weak. There was also nothing controlling it, so it was like a dead object. It was a lot more stable than a normal Sacred Lord's little world, but it was still weak. Zhou Suer was in complete shock as she stood in Zhao Feng's little world. Winds blew, and lightning blasted across heaven and earth. The ground was filled with black wood as arcs of lightning flashed by. This was Zhao Feng's little world? Because of Zhao Feng's intent, she wasn't affected by the little world, but Zhou Suer could feel how terrifying Zhao Feng's little world was. This wasn't the little world a normal emperor should have. Above the dark sky inheritance, Your Highness 11th Prince, we're almost at the dark sky inheritance. An elder in gray robes was filled with excitement. Good. I'll be counting on you. The 11th Prince increased his speed. Your Highness, don't worry. A senior of the Heaven Luo clan has been there in a previous trial, and we have spent a lot of time studying it. I am 80% confident that I will be able to solve it. The elder in gray felt proud. There was also a quasi-sacred lord expert with them. The overall strength of the 11th prince was ranked second to last, and he had no intention to become the crown prince. All he wanted to do was follow his members around and find some fortune. 11th prince, we're here. The gray-robed elder was filled with joy. The dark sky inheritance was still here and hadn't been solved yet. However, suddenly, boom, boom, bam, the ground erupted, and a storm of sacred power started radiating a terrifying aura. A surge of terrifying lightning then blinked out after it. What a terrifying aura! Run! The elder in gray screamed. The little world of Sacred Lord Dark Sky has been destroyed. There is definitely a Sacred Lord down there. The quasi-sacred lord following the 11th prince was stunned, and he immediately took the 11th prince and ran. One had to know that any group that had a true Sacred Lord was most likely from one of the top 5 princes, and one also had to know that even Sacred Lords would be restricted in this dimension. If a Sacred Lord was still able to release such power in this dimension and destroy a little world, how strong would they be? At this moment, within the Great Gone Imperial Palace, the stone tablet filled with weird symbols and marks floated in the air radiated a unique undulation. Around the stone tablet were 10 big white screens. At the very center of each screen was a prince. The 4th prince has already found a high-ranked inheritance, an expert in the clouds exclaimed. According to the image on the screen, the inheritance was from someone who was at the late stages of the mystic light realm at the least. Good. That black-robed person isn't with Chenner, and Chenner has gone to the inheritance I told him to go to. A powerful male within the hall of the 13th prince had a faint smile. The 6th prince is running around blindly and has met a group of beasts. Many experts laughed in their hearts. The trial to become crown prince had been around from the beginning of the Great Gone Lord dynasty, and it had a history of hundreds of millions of years. The trial to become crown prince was controlled by the Grand Imperial Hall, and apparently, the upper echelon members of the Grand Imperial Hall could affect what happened in the imperial tombs from the outside world. The pseudo-crown prince seals had been modified by the Imperials so that they could be connected to the outside world. Because of this, what happened within a certain range of the pseudo-crown prince seal could be seen in the outside world, but the images were slightly blurry. Having this ability protected the princes to a certain degree, and it allowed the forces and families waiting outside to see what was happening in the imperial tombs. The 11th prince has also found an inheritance, someone exclaimed, and everyone looked over. However, the inheritance in the 11th prince's screen suddenly exploded, and a storm ravaged across heaven and earth, making the images even blurrier. The 11th prince and the other 2 members immediately started to run. The spectating experts around the Great Hall instantly took in a deep breath. What strength! Which Sacred Lord managed to crush the little world of an inheritance? Could it be that the source of energy of that little world run out? No, there were obviously 2 different powers there. I saw lightning. How savage! They just destroyed the tests within the little world to take the inheritance and draconic providence. This has to be Sacred Lord 10,000 Lightning from Sky Suspension Palace. Everyone exclaimed. Due to the screens, everyone understood the imperial tombs to a certain degree. The pressure of the dimension was extremely strong, so those that had just entered would be heavily suppressed. And yet this mysterious expert still managed to destroy the little world of the Sacred Lord's inheritance. Unfortunately, the 11th prince ran away in a hurry and didn't see who it was. After the little world of Sacred Lord Dark Sky was destroyed, a tomb appeared in front of Zhao Feng and Zhou Suer. The dragon jades on Zhao Feng's and Zhou Suer's bodies instantly started to suck in the draconic providence nearby. At the same time, Zhao Feng started to collect the objects that Sacred Lord Dark Sky had left behind. The wealth of an imperial Sacred Lord is indeed different. Zhao Feng's consciousness entered the interspatial ring of Sacred Lord Dark Sky and started to smile. There's a unique flower from the ancient era. Joy appeared on Zhao Feng's face. Although this was an ancient dimension, most of the grasses and trees here were the same as the outside world. Over 100 million years, because of all the princes discovering everything, all the rare herbs became even rarer and usually only existed in some forbidden places. Let's go to the next inheritance, Zhao Feng said after collecting everything. Zhou Suer paused for a moment. She felt that everything she just experienced was a lot different from what she first imagined. There was no danger or difficulty. She didn't even need to do anything. Zhao Feng could finish everything himself. After returning to the surface, Zhao Feng suddenly leapt onto a tree, and his left eye radiated a soul power. A flying beast in the sky was just enslaved by Zhao Feng. After returning to the surface, the duo started heading toward the next inheritance. Right now, Zhao Feng was only heading toward the inheritances of beginning-stage Sacred Lords. Destroying the little worlds would allow them to gather the draconic providence, resources, and treasure much more easily than actually undergoing the test. Zhao Feng had now destroyed 3 beginning-stage Sacred Lord inheritances. Zhou Suer's dragon jade glittered with a warm light, and the outline of a dragon could be seen. This meant that the draconic providence in it was extremely plentiful. In this period of time, Zhao Feng had also robbed 3 more groups, and he didn't even give them time to use the array in their dragon jades. Zhao Feng had completely suppressed all of them and taken everything off them. This meant that Zhao Feng now had 7 dragon jades. "It'll be a lot harder from now on," Zhao Feng said with a sigh. 2 days had passed in the imperial tombs, and most of the people that had entered were used to the dimension's pressure by now and could use most of their battle power. It would be difficult for Zhao Feng to instantly suppress them now. As long as there was a slight instant, they could use the array in their dragon jades to escape, and there was nothing to be gained from offending them if he couldn't take their stuff. Boom! Zhao Feng circulated his sacred lightning body and destroyed another inheritance with the help of his little world of wind lightning. The air nearby went dark as lightning hummed and created a storm that blew over everything. "Let's head toward the center." Zhao Feng's left eye gazed into the distance and could see what others couldn't. The resources of beginning stage sacred lords couldn't satisfy Zhao Feng anymore, and there were only a few items that were useful to him. "Sure. The edges are too boring." Zhou Suer agreed with him, which made Zhao Feng speechless. All she had done so far was sit on the giant snake without doing anything, so of course she would find it boring. The closer they got to the center of the imperial tombs, the more dangerous it became. The inheritances were almost all created by early-stage sacred lords or even late-stage sacred lords, and Zhao Feng had to actually undergo the tests now. Furthermore, the beasts here had touched more draconic providence and posed some threat now. Some places were marked as forbidden areas and had a high death rate. "Our target is the Imperial Sky Inheritance. This is an inheritance created by a late-stage sacred lord and was found by a prince in the last trial, but he didn't manage to pass through it." Zhao Feng inspected his map. Although this inheritance had only been discovered in the previous trial and went unconquered, that didn't mean it was difficult. Some inheritances were discovered a dozen trials ago and went unconquered for various reasons. The duo started their journey after they came to an agreement. They would need roughly 5 days to reach the Imperial Sky Inheritance, and Zhou Suer was responsible for picking herbs. The normal herbs within the ancient dimension were several times more effective than those of the outside world, and if they could find some herbs that were extinct in the outside world, they would be extremely valuable. Apart from rare herbs, they also met fierce beasts. Some king beasts even refused to leave despite Zhao Feng revealing his emperor aura. "A pack of wind wolves. Why did you come here?" Zhou Suer's expression changed as she called out. It was completely possible for them to avoid this pack of wind wolves if they wanted to. Old Ing had already marked which places had wind wolf packs. Most of them were early-stage kings, and one of them was a wolf king. Under the wolf king's leadership, the battle power of the wind wolf pack was even more terrifying. "What's there to be scared of? I'm a beast tamer," Zhao Feng said. The instant they approached the pack of wind wolves, countless wind wolves surrounded them. Boom! Zhao Feng instantly circulated his sacred lightning body and released his emperor magnificent power and his lightning. The wolves' formation was instantly broken, and the wolves that were below the void god realm knelt on the ground and retreated with shaking bodies. At this moment, a heart-shaking howl appeared. Woo, this wolf cry was like a drug to the other wind wolves when they heard it. The wind wolves revealed a cruel and cold light in their eyes and stopped retreating. They started to slowly gather, and they completely blocked Zhao Feng's emperor magnificent power. If Zhao Feng revealed any flaws, they would immediately attack him. At the same moment, a gust of wind blew, and a black wolf more than a dozen meters tall appeared in front of Zhao Feng. There was a flashing red light in its eyes, and its silver-white claws were extremely sharp as they stabbed toward Zhao Feng at a speed that others wouldn't be able to react to. Mental energy spike. A cold purple crystal-like spike shot out from Zhao Feng's left eye and pierced into the Wolf King's soul. Woo, the Wolf King cried out in pain. The mental energy spike had been refined, and it now contained an immortal and undying god tribulation lightning eye intent. The Wolf King lost control of its body and fell to the side, but it immediately stood back up and glared fiercely at Zhao Feng with anger and unwillingness. Zhao Feng murmured. All his soul attacks now contained the damage of god tribulation lightning, But this Wolf King could stand back up even after being stabbed by his mental energy spike. As expected, the beasts here couldn't be measured by normal standards. Zhao Feng also felt that the intent of this Wolf King was extremely strong and refined, or else it wouldn't be able to control such a large wolf pack. He could definitely use such a beast, and it would be a great asset. No wonder each prince had a spot specifically for beast tamers in their team. However, even Grandmaster Beast Tamers would find it difficult to tame the beasts here. Wu, the Wolf King suddenly howled at the sky, and the nearby wind wolves turned into black figures that charged over without hesitation. Humph! Zhao Feng snickered coldly as he spread his little world of wind lightning and merged it into the air. The sky went dark as wind and lightning intertwined with one another. The speed and power of all the wind wolves within Zhao Feng's little world decreased. Those that got within a certain range of Zhao Feng would be hit by the power of wind lightning. Wind lightning eye flame. Zhao Feng condensed his eye bloodline power and released a surge of fire. Boom! A half-transparent dark purple eye flame with the destructive power of God Tribulation lightning whistled through the air and exploded on the Wolf King's head. Plop! The Wolf King fell once again. The wind lightning eye flame affected both the physical and soul dimensions and had a burning effect. Its power was terrifying, especially when it was used in conjunction with the God Tribulation lightning. Dark Heart Seal. While the Wolf King was struggling, Zhao Feng circulated his eye intent and slowly imprinted the Dark Heart Seal into the Wolf King's soul, who Zhao Feng took back his little world of wind lightning. At this moment, the Wolf King stood obediently next to Zhao Feng, and the wind wolves stopped their attacks. Controlling the Wolf King was the same as controlling all of the wind wolves. Zhao Feng picked up the Dragon Jade, and all the draconic providence within the Wolf King's body entered the Dragon Jade. At the same time, the draconic providence of every wind wolf slowly gathered toward him as well. The beasts here also had draconic providence. But since there were so many and they were all very fierce, most people wouldn't try to gather draconic providence by hunting beasts. They would usually just focus on inheritances. However, Zhao Feng didn't really require any time or effort. As long as he enslaved the Wolf King, he could obtain the draconic providence of every wind wolf, and the total amount of draconic providence from the pack was close to the draconic providence from the inheritance of a beginning stage sacred lord. At the same instant, Zhao Feng just obtained more battle power. The Wolf King was a Void God Realm Emperor and could threaten unrivaled emperors with its wolf pack. Zhao Feng waved his left hand, and all the wind wolves entered the misty spatial world. Zhou Suer watched the entire process in shock. She finally witnessed Zhao Feng's beast taming abilities. Such a young Grandmaster Beast Tamer and such skill made one click their tongue. Even the most famous Grandmaster Beast Tamers in the Lord Dynasty wouldn't be able to tame an Emperor-level Wolf King so easily. The beasts within this ancient dimension were fierce and deadly. They couldn't be compared to normal beasts. Zhou Suer revealed a smile. Zhao Feng, I want to change steeds. Zhou Suer's soft voice suddenly sounded. Zhao Feng looked at Zhou Suer and summoned the Wolf King. The Wolf King was extremely unwilling, but it finally let Zhou Suer ride on it. Zhao Feng felt that this was better. It's not like they could feign weakness anyway, since that would only make people more suspicious of them. Over the next 5 days, Zhao Feng headed toward various nearby beast hordes while evading other cultivators. The results were good. Zhao Feng managed to enslave 2 more groups of beasts, a group of red-faced ice snakes and a group of black venom scorpions. As long as he enslaved the leaders of the beasts, Zhao Feng would be able to control the entire group of beasts and obtain all their draconic providence. However, not every beast group was the same. When the strongest expert of a certain group lost, the remaining beasts all ran away, and Zhao Feng just gave up on them. Apart from those 2 beast groups, Zhao Feng also enslaved 2 strong individual beasts. Zhou Suer witnessed all of this and was numb to it by now. She started to think about what the outcome would be if someone offended Zhao Feng. Imperial Sky Inheritance. The 2 stopped and looked at the magnificent palace. This magnificent palace was a little world. This was the first time Zhao Feng had seen a little world in the shape of a building. He could hear people speaking and fighting within it. This meant that many people were already here. The technique of a sacred lord at the late stages of the mystic light realm is indeed different. Zhao Feng gave a faint smile. The two were just about to enter when they heard a voice behind them. Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng turned around and saw two purple-haired males and a muscular male in black clothes slowly walk over. The two purple-haired males had eyes full of faint purple stars, almost as if they could charm anyone. They inspected Zhao Feng closely. The one that had called out Zhao Feng's name was one of the purple-haired males, and his purple hair was cut short. "You can leave. The Imperial Sky inheritance is ours." The other purple-haired male had slightly longer hair, and he revealed a playful smile as a light flashed through his purple eyes. The purple-haired male with short hair looked at the Wolf King that Zhou Suer was sitting on with interest. The muscular male walked over slowly behind the two of them, and his powerful aura made the black hair of the Wolf King stand on end, and it instinctively retreated. The muscular male glanced at Zhao Feng and Zhou Suer before walking straight toward the Imperial Sky inheritance. He completely ignored them. Zhao Feng remembered all of the members present during the fights for the positions. The two purple-haired middle-aged people were geniuses of the Ji family from an older generation, while the muscular male in black clothes was a sacred lord from the Chao family. None of these three had to defend their positions. "Wait for me here. If there's any danger, just use the array in the Dragon Jade," Zhao Feng ordered as he looked at the three slowly heading into the Imperial Sky inheritance. "You're really going to go?" Zhou Suer was worried. Was just thinking about what would happen if someone offended Zhao Feng. But she was starting to regret it. The Chao family and the Ji family were both members of the 8 big families, and they supported the 4th-ranked 8th prince. The purple-haired male with short hair was a famous Grandmaster Beast Tamer Ji Bai, while the muscular male in black clothes was Chao Zhang, also known as Sacred Lord 100 Refined. Apparently, he had cultivated and refined 100 peak Earth-grade techniques to the maximum, and he was a peerless prodigy of the Chao family's older generation. Their group had a Grandmaster Beast Tamer with the powerful Purple Star Eyes bloodline, and they also had the terrifying battle power of Sacred Lord 100 Refined. While Zhao Feng might be outstanding in every aspect and easily surpassed unrivaled emperors, he was certainly not a match for such a combination. Zhou Suer started to regret choosing to be a healer. Zhao Feng gave a simple reply and didn't give an explanation. Seeing Zhao Feng acting so calm, Zhou Suer thought that she might be underestimating him. Within the inheritance, Ji Bai laughed coldly. "Ji Dengtun, that brat has come in on his own. That's good. I will defeat him with my purple star eyes." Ji Dengtian had a proud expression and cold eyes. The Ji family had originally joined the 9th prince, but after Sacred Lord Star Demon learned that Zhao Feng was a member of the 9th prince's team, they immediately left and joined the 8th prince's faction. The reason he did this was because your eye bloodline techniques are no match for Zhao Feng, so you definitely won't be able to get the spot. The younger disciples of the Ji family spent all day talking about Zhao Feng's mysterious eye bloodline techniques. "I will let that brat learn how terrifying the purple star eyes are, and that the Ji family is the family with the strongest eye bloodlines." Ever since Ji Dengtian started cultivating, he had never lost against an eye bloodline outside the Ji family. He would never admit that his eye bloodline techniques weren't a match for a late-stage King Jr. I heard that Zhao Feng joined the Crown Prince trial with the position of Beast Tamer." Excitement flashed through Ji Bai's eyes. "Stop talking about useless stuff. He's just a king-level junior." Sacred Lord 100 Refined, who was at the front, snickered coldly. "Sacred Lord 100 Refined, you might not know about this, but Zhao Feng has a cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly." Ji Bai gave a wicked smile. "Oh!" Sacred Lord 100 Refined's footsteps stopped, and his eyebrows furrowed. It was obvious that even sacred lords weren't able to resist the temptation of the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly. But he shouldn't have used the array in his Dragon Jade yet, so if we take action hastily, it will ruin our chance," Ji Bai continued. Their voices had faded. It was obvious that they were now talking with their divine sense. While the shape of the Imperial Sky inheritance was a palace, after they entered, there was an old wide path. This old wide path was covered in sand, and it was extremely long. No one could see where it ended or where it led. In the depths of this pathway, boom! Bam! 6 experts were fighting against countless human-shaped sandstone monsters. There were more and more sandstone monsters in front of them in a never-ending horde. Shui Yuan, I can't do it anymore. Who knows how much further this path goes? A short emperor who had expended a lot of true yuan spoke in a low tone. It is indeed not enough with just 2 groups. Shui Yuan looked at the members of the 12th Prince's group. Their situation wasn't much better. They had been fighting with these sandstone monsters ever since they entered the Imperial Sky Inheritance. And while these monsters only had the strength of a half-step king, everyone's strength was currently suppressed in this ancient dimension. The path here had been extremely difficult. They had slain 600 or 700 sandstone monsters at the least, but the path ahead of them was still pitch black. They could only see countless sandstone monsters. Another group has arrived, someone exclaimed. They're members of the 8th Prince's group, the Chao and Ji families. It's Sacred Lord 100 refined from the Chao family. Hold on. The group from the Chao and Ji families are coming. We will definitely be able to break through now. Shui Yuan encouraged the short emperor next to him as excitement shone in his eyes. With the help of a sacred lord, they would be able to easily kill these monsters. Sacred Lord 100 refined was like a black meteor as he summoned a storm and crashed into several dozen sandstone monsters. The pressure of a sacred lord was unleashed and swept across the place like a tornado. Boom! 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 Countless sandstone monsters cried out as their bodies crumbled and turned into sand. All of you, leave the Imperial Sky Inheritance. Sacred Lord 100 refined turned around and looked at the 6 people. His voice was cold and forceful. The supreme aura of a sacred lord made the 6 emperors unable to stand or breathe properly. If you stay here, we might accidentally kill you. Ji Bai slowly walked over, and his wicked laughter resounded throughout the pathway. He waved his hands, and countless dark green snakes appeared. They had scaly armor that glittered with a cold light. You! Shui Yuan was filled with anger. They had spent a lot of time and effort to reach this place. None of them were willing to leave the Imperial Sky Inheritance just like that, but they were all extremely tired from the battle. Even if we're at their full strength, these 6 wouldn't be a match for the Chao and Ji families. The difference between their groups and the groups of the top 5 princes was just too big. Let's go. Shui Yuan harumphed coldly and left with the other 2 members of his group. The other group could only give up as well. There were a lot of inheritances in the imperial tombs, and they had plenty of chances elsewhere. Shui Yuan, which inheritance are we going to next? An elder in white robes asked with a faint smile. Although these 2 groups weren't behind the same prince, they had reached this place together, and they felt a certain bond after being kicked out together by the 8th prince's group. Let's go to a smaller inheritance. We won't get any share from a big inheritance. Shui Yuan sighed. They felt helpless against the members of the top 5 princes. The foundation and strength of the 8 big families weren't something normal 3-star powers could compare to. There's someone in front of us, someone said with surprise. A youth with golden hair and a golden eye slowly walked over. Hand over 2 dragon jades and I'll let you guys go. Zhao Feng revealed a smile as he stood in the middle of their path like a bandit. What? The 6 were slightly dazed as they recognized Zhao Feng, and they made sure that their ears were functioning properly. All of them knew a bit about Zhao Feng. The beast tamer on the 9th prince's team apparently had a spiritual pet with a bloodline of the 10,000 ancient races, but a mere late-stage void god realm beast tamer robbing 6 emperors would make many people laugh to death. Zhao Feng, hand over the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly or immediately use the array in your dragon jade and leave. Shui Yuan's eyes were cold as he walked forward. After being kicked out by the experts of the Chao and Ji families, he was filled with anger and had nowhere to unleash it, but an ignorant junior suddenly arrived. Hearing that, the other 5 revealed playful smiles as they walked over as well. Looks like you're not going to give me the dragon jades then. Zhao Feng's golden eye scanned over the 6, and their hearts shook. The eye seemed to be able to look through everything. Shui Yuan's eyebrows furrowed. He felt like something was amiss, but he was frustrated at the same time. Zhao Feng, you're courting death. An emperor with a short temper cursed and was about to attack. Humph. Sacred lightning body. Zhao Feng stepped forward, and his body became taller. A golden blue light radiated from his body as he seemed to turn into a miniature golden giant. At the same time, a barrier of lightning condensed around the surface of his body. Lightning flashed and wind howled. The Emperor's palm landed on Zhao Feng's barrier of lightning, but his attack was completely dissolved. At the same time, a strong repelling force and countless bolts of lightning pushed him back a dozen meters and made him cough out a mouthful of blood. He fell to the ground and looked at Zhao Feng in fear. Under the pressure of Zhao Feng's sacred lightning body, the other 5 felt as if they had been hit by a hammer, and their blood started to boil. A numbing sensation coursed through their bodies. What a strong body! He managed to ignore the attack of an emperor and even counterattack. This momentum and aura are close to a sacred lord. How is this possible? He's only a late-stage king. How is he able to unleash such battle power when he's being suppressed by the ancient dimension? Everyone was shocked and puzzled. The feeling Zhao Feng gave them was the exact same as Sacred Lord 100 refined. They felt helpless and could only do what he said. Shui Yuan was completely shocked as he looked at the calm Zhao Feng. In the information he had received, it said that Zhao Feng's physical defense was extremely strong, but he didn't expect it to be this strong. On top of that, there were rumors that Zhao Feng specialized in soul eye bloodline techniques, and he definitely had spiritual pets that specialized in fighting for him as well if he was able to enter this place with the position of beast tamer. "We're willing to hand over 1 dragon jade," Shui Yuan said through gritted teeth. 1 dragon jade wasn't really a big deal for them. The prince they supported had no intention of becoming the crown prince, so there wasn't much point in collecting dragon providence. It was better to just give away 1 jade since it would be a waste for their entire group to use their life-saving technique right now. Shui Yuan took a dragon jade from another member and handed it to Zhao Feng. The elder in white walked over to the emperor that Zhao Feng had sent flying, took the dragon jade from him and gave it to Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng took the dragon jades, then headed forward without bothering them. "I can only blackmail them now." Zhao Feng sighed. Everyone was starting to get used to this place. The 6 emperors just now could use 30% of their full battle power. "The path in this inheritance is extremely long. I'll let them open the way for me." A gold light flashed through Zhao Feng's left eye as he looked into the distance and continued to walk forward at a leisurely pace. Within the depths of the old pathway, Sacred Lord 100 Refined was like a black tornado that shredded every sandstone monster wherever he went. Blazing Sky Force Punch. Sky Silk Shadowless Step. Golden Kuin Finger. Boom! 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 The 3 advanced forward very quickly and only left a trail of yellow sand behind. "Will that brat come?" Ji Dengtian stopped and turned around. "He's coming, but he's following at a very slow speed. From the looks of it, he wants us to open the way for him while he does nothing," Ji Bai said with an evil smile after carefully sensing around. As long as he comes, he can take anything he wants, if he has the ability to do so." Ji Dengtian laughed coldly. "Old Ing, we've already conquered 2 inheritances now." The 9th prince was slightly excited. The pseudo-crown prince seal in his hands gave off a white and gold glow of light, and it had the faint outline of a dragon on it. They hadn't met any beast packs or anyone other cultivators in the process. With the help of Old Ying's information and analysis, they were able to conquer the inheritances very easily. Jing Kai watched Old Ying's performance and completely looked up to him. Jing Kai felt like, if he was a bit stronger, their speed would have been even faster, so he kept using his draconic providence to increase his strength in their spare time. "I wonder how the other 2 groups are doing?" Jing Kai was slightly worried. After all, his group had Old Ing, who was an experienced and strong senior who knew a lot of information, but the others didn't. Shinjizi's group might have even gained even more, Old Ing said. Those that cultivated the Tao of Destiny weren't to be underestimated, and Shinjizi also knew a lot about mechanisms. Su Qingling and Shi Yulei were also very suitable for conquering inheritances, and the chance of meeting other people in random unpopular inheritances was quite low. Therefore, Shinjizi's group should be the safest. On the other hand, even though Old Ing had received some information and heard some stories about Zhao Feng from the 9th prince and believed in his abilities, he still couldn't see through Zhao Feng. I think that Zhao Feng probably hasn't gone to any inheritances and has most likely gone to tame beasts. This will increase his battle power, and he'll obtain some draconic providence at the same time, Jing Kai said after thinking for a moment. The group that he thought the worst of was obviously Zhao Feng and Zhou Suer. If that's the case, that would be good because a large number of beasts will be useful for the next stage. The key point was whether or not Zhao Feng would actually do that. They had troubled him by handing over Zhou Suer to him, who was useless at this stage of the trial. Olding revealed a rare smile. At least for now, no one had used the Dragon Jade's safety feature. This was the best situation that he could have hoped for. As long as they treaded carefully, the 9th prince had a little hope. Within the Imperial Sky inheritance, Zhao Feng casually walked forward while inspecting his surroundings with his left eye. This inheritance's little world was a lot different than the little world of a beginning stage Sacred Lord's inheritance. Everything here gave off a very realistic feeling, and Zhao Feng had already traveled a few miles into it and was still within the little world. There might be a couple dozen or even a couple hundred miles more ahead of him. This meant that Sacred Lord Imperial Sky had fused some profound space laws into his little world. Unfortunately, Zhao Feng knew nothing about space laws. Their speed has slowed down. Zhao Feng's left eye looked at the situation of the 3 ahead of him. The human-shaped sandstone monsters were bigger now, and they were early-stage kings instead of half-step kings. There's someone here. Zhao Feng's expression changed. His left eye saw 4 figures at the entrance of the Imperial Sky inheritance. Due to the laws of the little world, Zhao Feng's left eye wasn't able to see who it was, but if there were 4 people in one group, they must be supporters of a prince that had a lot of slots, one of the top 5. If this group was also part of the 8th prince's team, then it would be over for him. In that case, I'll just finish off the 3 in front. Zhao Feng had a decisive gaze. He really wanted the inheritance of this late-stage mystic light realm Sacred Lord, and he shouldn't be far from the end. A pair of scarlet lightning wings several yards wide formed behind Zhao Feng's back and instantly increased his speed. He turned into a ball of red light and flashed forward. Boom! 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 Blazing Sun Force Punch. Rampant Imperial Finger. Sacred Lord 100 Refined was the main force while Ji Dengtian and Ji Bai supported him. The 3 pushed forward extremely quickly, but the further they got, the stronger these sandstone monsters became. After expending a lot of energy, their progress started to slow down as well. Looks like we underestimated this inheritance, Ji Bai said with furrowed eyebrows. He had lost 10% of the spiritual pets he had prepared in the outside world, and it was hard to tame the beasts native to this dimension. Without the help of an expert, the success rate of taming was even lower. However, if they did that, it would waste everyone's time, so Sacred Lord 100 Refine's group set their eyes on the inheritances. There's nothing I can do. After all, we don't specialize in physical attacks, Ji Dengtian said helplessly. He was the most useless here. If the 2 of them specialized in physical combat, then they might have already conquered this inheritance. Luckily, Sacred Lord 100 Refined had such great battle power. He was like a black tornado that caused sand to scatter everywhere wherever he passed. Behind us. Ji Bai sensed something and turned around. A scarlet-red streak of light was flying over at extreme speed. Zhao Feng? So fast. How is this possible? Ji Bai's expression faltered. Zhao Feng's current speed was even faster than Sacred Lord 100 Refined. Zhao Feng's coming. Senior Chaozhong, let's act as planned, Ji Dengtian messaged. Zhao Feng, you. Ji Bai was about to greet Zhao Feng, but he felt that something was off. Zhao Feng was approaching at an extremely fast speed, and he wasn't slowing down at all. The true yuan undulation radiating from him meant that he was going to attack. What was going on? Ji Bai paused for a moment. Zhao Feng was going to attack them? What the heck was going on? This was completely different from his plan. Where did Zhao Feng find the courage to attack them? Their original plan was completely foiled, and they didn't know what to do. Ji Bai instinctively reacted and controlled some of the jade-green pythons to attack Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng, what is the meaning of this? Ji Bai roared. Hee. Zhao Feng revealed a cold smile. Sacred lightning body. Zhao Feng's body grew taller, and he released gold and blue arcs of lightning as he turned into a ball of giant golden lightning and charged at Ji Bai. The jade-green pythons on the ground were completely suppressed by Zhao Feng's sacred lightning body before they were even able to get close, and they were unable to move. How is this possible? Ji Bai's face was filled with shock. He had spent a lot of time and money to find and buy these jade-green pythons. Each one of them was a rare late-stage king beast that had a tough body. But they weren't even able to approach Zhao Feng? All of this happened within 2 breaths. Ji Bai quickly opened a spiritual pet bag as Zhao Feng approached. Boom! A large mountain monster landed in the center of the pathway and completely blocked the path between Zhao Feng and Ji Bai. Part of this mountain monster's body was crystal-like. It was obviously a mutated beast. The mountain monster put its hands together and thrust out toward Zhao Feng. Sacred Lightning Dominating Punch. Zhao Feng unleashed bolts of golden lightning that hammered onto the mountain monster like giant metal rods. Boom! Bam! The mountain monster's hands were completely shattered by Zhao Feng, who, Zhao Feng once again formed a punch and aimed it at the mountain monster's head. Several beams of light formed the shape of a fist and shot upward. At the same time, Zhao Feng circulated his sacred lightning body and transformed into a surge of scarlet and white lightning that charged forward. Boom! Ji Bai thought that the mountain monster would definitely be able to kill Zhao Feng, but the next instant, the mountain monster's head exploded, and a bolt of scarlet gold lightning shot toward him. The powerful physical pressure and lightning made Ji Bai's face go white before the bolt even arrived. A feeling of death that he had never felt before instantly spread throughout Ji Bai's body and made him lose the ability to move. Junior, you're too arrogant. Sacred Lord Hundred Refined's deep voice sounded. Sacred Lord Hundred Refined was going to follow Ji Bai's plan and ignore Zhao Feng, but Zhao Feng decided to come to them instead. He was also dazed by this. After all, they had already planned how to take Zhao Feng's Cloud Silkworm Saint Butterfly, and they couldn't give Zhao Feng the chance to use the Dragon Jade and run away. Although he didn't know what was going on with Ji Bai, he had to stop it. Sacred Lord Hundred Refined moved in a unique manner and became a streak of black light that instantly arrived next to Ji Bai. Blazing Sky Force Punch. A fist ablaze with black flames shot out, and it contained the power to split heaven and earth. Sacred Lightning Protection. A barrier of wind lightning and sacred lightning body force formed around Zhao Feng's body. The howl of wind and the hum of lightning could be heard. Boom! The flaming fist hit Zhao Feng's body, but it was blocked by the barrier and caused lightning to crackle. Bah! Crack! The barrier of lightning released a brilliant flash that pushed the blazing fist aside. Zhao Feng estimated that the Sacred Lord Hundred Refined could currently use 40% of his full strength, so Zhao Feng's sacred lightning body and defensive secret techniques were more than enough to block this move. What? This junior? Sacred Lord Hundred Refined's expression changed. Zhao Feng had cultivated a powerful defensive secret technique that merged his physical force and lightning together, and it actually managed to block his attack. How was this possible? The skill of a Sacred Lord had been blocked by a junior at the Void God realm? Purple Star Illusion Domain. The eyes of Ji Dengtian, who was currently behind Ji Bai, blinked with a dreamy purple haze, and a surge of powerful soul intent shot toward Zhao Feng. In an instant, tall purple walls started to appear around Zhao Feng. The sky went dark, and an evil purple moon floated in the air as purple mist surrounded the area. However, Zhao Feng's eyes seemed to see through everything, and he simply charged at the wall ahead of him without reducing speed. Boom! The purple wall crumbled, and a large building appeared before Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng gave a faint smile. Ji Dengtian must have lost his mind trying to cast an illusion on him. While others might have only seen this thing as a building, Zhao Feng's left eye could see that it was actually Ji Bai. Who? Boom! Zhao Feng charged over with a flash of lightning. Seeing Zhao Feng's faint smile and how he was still charging over, Ji Bai instantly started to circulate his true yuan. A profound array within the Dragon Jade started to expand. A layer of draconic providence covered Ji Bai's body, and he disappeared with a flash. Do you want to leave by yourself? Or do you want me to send you there? After missing his attack, Zhao Feng floated in the air and smiled faintly toward Ji Dengtian. At this moment, Ji Dengtian was still in shock. He didn't understand why his illusion was completely useless on Zhao Feng. How was it possible? Zhao Feng was definitely in the illusion, but he had seen through everything. Zhao Feng, you've angered me. I will personally send you to your grave. Sacred Lord Hundred Refined had an enraged expression, and killing intent appeared in his eyes. Zhao Feng, you've angered me. I will personally send you to your grave. Sacred Lord Hundred Refined had an enraged expression, and killing intent appeared in his eyes. Even though he had tried to stop Zhao Feng, Ji Bai still had to use the Dragon Jade to escape. Furthermore, his opponent was just a junior who was still at the Void God realm. No Sacred Lord would be able to withstand this kind of humiliation. Even if Zhao Feng used the array in his Dragon Jade to escape at this point, Sacred Lord Hundred Refined would chase after him until he killed Zhao Feng in order to wash away the shame. At this moment, Ji Dengtian almost recovered, and he started to panic. Do you want to leave by yourself? Or do you want me to send you away personally? Zhao Feng's words meant that Ji Dengtian was the next target. Although he didn't believe Zhao Feng had that ability, his heart felt uneasy for some reason. Sacred Lord Hundred Refined. Kill him. Who? Sacred Lord Hundred Refined moved in a unique manner and radiated the pressure of a Sacred Lord, destroying the walls around them. Rampant Imperial Finger. Ascension Kick. Sacred Lord Hundred Refined used two techniques at once, and countless leg phantoms made of sacred power flashed around Zhao Feng and restricted his ability to move. At the same time, a giant finger made of golden light shot forward with a rampant aura. Sacred Lightning Dominating Punch. Zhao Feng used the scarlet wings of lightning to release a surge of true yuan and propel himself upward. He thrust out his fists, and countless giant fists made of golden lightning clashed heavily against Sacred Lord Hundred Refined's attack. Using this force to push himself back, Zhao Feng flapped his scarlet wings of lightning and shot toward Ji Dengtian. How is that possible? Fear finally appeared on Ji Dengtian's face. The power that Zhao Feng's punch displayed was comparable to Sacred Lord Hundred Refined's technique, and Zhao Feng even had a profound flying technique. I can't let him get close to me. Purple Star Days. Ji Dengtian's eyes flashed with purple, and a large source of soul eye bloodline power shot toward Zhao Feng. As a peerless genius of the Ji family's previous generation, he obviously knew more than just illusions. If illusions were useless, then he would just use something else. Zhao Feng instantly sensed something. His thoughts and his control over his body were reduced. His senses toward the outside world dropped as well, and the scarlet wings of lightning occasionally dimmed, which was due to his true yuan not circulating properly. A mental energy technique that creates chaos in the soul and senses? Zhao Feng was surprised. This technique was similar to his Eye of Ice Soul, but the direction it took was different. The Eye of Ice Soul froze the opponent's soul and also affected the physical dimension to some degree, but it required a bloodline with the element of ice. The Purple Star Days created chaos in the opponent's soul, and it was a more profound and skillful attack focused entirely on the soul. After recultivating, Zhao Feng had placed greater importance on his sacred lightning body and the perfect Blood Devil Sun bloodline. The power of the Ice Water bloodline had started to drop mainly because its techniques weren't able to catch up to Zhao Feng's progress anymore. On the other hand, Ji Dengtian's Purple Star Days was rather suitable for Zhao Feng. Seeing Zhao Feng's speed falter for a moment, a smug expression appeared on Ji Dengtian's face. This brat is only slightly resilient against illusions, but he probably hasn't ever seen an illusion technique that can cause chaos amongst mental energy before, Ji Dengtian mocked. After Zhao Feng was hit by the Purple Star Gaze, Sacred Lord Hundred Refined would be able to finish him off easily. However, lightning suddenly flashed around Zhao Feng. Countless symbols of God Tribulation lightning in Zhao Feng's condensed purple soul blinked like meteorites falling through the night. Boom! 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 The faint purple soul power that had entered Zhao Feng's soul was utterly destroyed by Zhao Feng's immortal and undying God Tribulation lightning. At the same time, a golden glow appeared in Zhao Feng's left eye as he circulated it to the maximum. A dreamy dark golden color suddenly blinked in Zhao Feng's left eye. Soul Daze. A strong surge of faint purple soul power was unleashed through Zhao Feng's eye intent, and it covered Ji Dengtian. Who? This is? Ji Dengtian's footsteps became unsteady as he looked at Zhao Feng in shock. This is my purple star days. Ji Dengtian cried out as panic overtook his face. How is this possible? How do you know the secret technique of the Ji family? Ji Dengtian didn't know what to say. The true yuan circulating within his body had broken into chaos, so he wouldn't be able to use any eye bloodline techniques for a while. Ji Dengtian immediately circulated his soul intent and eye intent in an attempt to get rid of this technique. Not bad. Zhao Feng gave a faint smile. The purple star days was a type of illusion, so it wasn't very hard for Zhao Feng to replicate it. Its force would probably be even stronger if he used it with his soul eye bloodline power. Who? A strong gust of wind appeared. Not good. Zhao Feng had been too focused on trying to replicate the technique. At this moment, the aura of Sacred Lord 100 Refine's fist had arrived. Even though the attack was far away, Zhao Feng's sacred lightning body could still feel a stinging pain, and his golden blue light started to dim. Sacred lightning protection. Zhao Feng circulated the power of wind lightning and formed a barrier of crackling lightning. Boom! The barrier shattered, and Zhao Feng was slammed into a wall. A surge of pain traveled throughout his body. Who? A black figure continued to charge over with overwhelming momentum, giving Zhao Feng no chance to rest. Humph! Zhao Feng's expression was cold as he circulated his wind lightning true yuan and flapped the scarlet wings of lightning. He became a streak of scarlet-red lightning and clashed against Sacred Lord 100 Refined. If it wasn't for the fact that Ji Dengtian's mental energy technique had affected him and caused chaos with his true yuan, reducing the defense of his sacred lightning body dramatically, Sacred Lord 100 Refined wouldn't have been able to do so much damage. However, none of that mattered now because he had learned the Ji family's secret technique. Zhao Feng secretly circulated the water and wood of wind lightning in order to heal the injuries he just received. Rampant Imperial Finger. Blazing Sky Force Punch. Sky Silk Shadowless Step. Sacred Lord 100 Refined didn't stop at all. He simply continued his stream of attacks. The figures of a palm, a hand, and a leg surrounded Zhao Feng. The power was enough to shatter mountains and split rivers. Sacred Lightning Body. Sacred Lightning Protection. Zhao Feng circulated the Sacred Lightning Body to the maximum, and a brilliant glow of golden lightning flashed around the surface of his body. The barrier of lightning surrounded his body and caused wind to howl and lightning to crackle. Zhao Feng didn't care what techniques Sacred Lord 100 Refined used. He would take them all head-on. Boom! 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 The sacred lightning protection around Zhao Feng's body exploded and released a brilliant bolt of lightning that pushed aside all of the sacred power nearby. Who? Sacred Lord 100 Refined revealed a cold smile. He wouldn't be tricked again after witnessing Zhao Feng's defensive secret technique. Sky-shattering divine punch. Sacred Lord 100 Refined condensed all the intent into his right hand, and a pressure that could summon a storm gathered and shot out like a mountain being thrown through the air. After using this move, it was obvious that Sacred Lord 100 Refined's aura became weaker. Sacred Lightning Force Fist. Zhao Feng circulated the God Tribulation lightning symbols and the ancient lightning within his crystal core dimension. The most original and forceful divine lightning gathered on Zhao Feng's fists, and he punched out like an ocean of lightning. Boom! 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 The powerful wave of destruction sent both Zhao Feng and Sacred Lord 100 Refined flying into the walls. Ji Dengtian's face went pale white. He quickly retreated several hundred meters away from the explosion with a dazed expression. Close combat against Sacred Lord 100 Refined and not being at a disadvantage. Ji Dengtian's voice was trembling. He was in complete disbelief. Sacred Lord 100 Refined perhaps hadn't used his full strength in the first exchange, and Zhao Feng also used his flying techniques to negate some of Sacred Lord 100 Refined's attack. However, in the exchange just now, Sacred Lord 100 Refined put all of his power into a heaven-grade technique, and yet he was only on par with Zhao Feng. One had to know that Sacred Lord 100 Refined wasn't just any Sacred Lord. He was from the Chao family, one of the 8 big families. The Chao family in particular was a family that specialized in fighting, and they focused on physical damage. Their close combat skills were the best among all 8 families. This can't be true. He still has a terrifying soul-based eye bloodline, and yet he has the ability to fight against a sacred lord in close combat? Ji Dongtian's entire body started to tremble. His eyes were dim, and they were filled with wariness and fear. He didn't dare to do anything because he might attract Zhao Feng's attention, which would cause his outcome to be the same as Ji Bai's. Boom! Boom! The 2 figures jumped out from their holes in the wall and clashed once again. Zhao Feng, I'll see how long you can last. Sacred Lord 100 Refined gritted his teeth and harumphed coldly as he used his battle techniques. He was looking at Zhao Feng as an expert of the same level now. Zhao Feng's physical defense was monstrous and even surpassed the Shi family. He wouldn't be able to win within a short amount of time. However, the difference between the Void God Realm and the Mystic Light Realm was just too big. The sacred body of Mystic Light Realms had a strong recovery ability, and Mystic Light's sacred power could affect the soul. Even if Zhao Feng was strong, he had to do more than just attack. He also needed to maintain his sacred lightning body and heal his injuries, which would use his true yuan up like water flowing down a river. Hee. An excited smile appeared on Zhao Feng's face. Zhao Feng felt extremely satisfied fighting against Sacred Lord 100 Refined, and the blood within the depths of his body was already starting to boil. Due to the pressure of this ancient dimension, Sacred Lord 100 Refined could only use 40% of his full battle power. Zhao Feng didn't use his soul eye bloodline techniques, he just fought against him in close combat. Boom! A glass-like flame suddenly appeared around Zhao Feng's body, and a terrifying scorching aura was unleashed. Zhao Feng seemed to become a blazing sun that gave off a bright flame. The temperature within the pathway started to rise. This is the Blood Devil Sun bloodline? Sacred Lord 100 Refined revealed a stunned expression. Why did Zhao Feng have the bloodline of the Tai family? Boom! Boom! Zhao Feng was like a flaming demonic sovereign as he flapped his wings of lightning and flew around. His attacks were extremely explosive. Zhao Feng thrust out his fist and released a wave of blood-colored flames that were surrounded by lightning, and it started to burn and erode everything. The power was on par with Sacred Lord 100 Refined's battle techniques. The instant they clashed, Sacred Lord 100 Refined felt that some blood essence and energy within his body was sucked away by Zhao Feng. Meanwhile, the color of Zhao Feng's face recovered a little bit. Even though only a bit of energy and blood essence of a mystic light sacred body was sucked away, the power contained within it was extremely strong, and it was a great help to those at the Void God realm. This is the perfect Blood Devil Sun bloodline of the Tai family. Sacred Lord 100 Refined was stunned, and he pulled away from Zhao Feng. Being someone from one of the 8 big families just like the Tai family, he understood it very well.